guys are so funny. You're trying to get me to do this stupid shit. And
She just whispered, "I'm a bad bitch" for anyone who didn't hear. Stop. 420.
I'm lit at Disney.
And the kids asleep in the bath.
There we go. A ball sack station.
That's what a business owner looks like. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Tattoo Homewreckers. Stop whispering during the intro.
Really? You're going to start off that way? Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tattoo Homewreckers, a podcast where we talk about tattoos, life, and everything between. And we are actually going to talk about fucking tattoos today. Well, not fucking tattoos, but we are going to talk about tattoos.
Tattoos.
And probably fucking.
Yes.
Yeah.
My name is Callista. I have my very best friend, Lou, sitting across from us. And guess what? We have a guest in the middle of us. Do you want to say your name?
Jayde.
Hi.
Sorry. Her name's Jayde, everybody.
And she is a fellow tattoo artist.
Absolutely. In New Zealand. Oh my goodness. Gracious. Well,
Yeah.
obviously.
The land of the long white. Did you know that's what Aotearoa means?
No.
The land of the long white cloud.
Oh, what?
You knew this?
Yes. I love you. Goldfish Brain. We watched the same document. I kept showing you the documentaries on it.
You know what? I'm so sorry. I don't really retain a lot of info.
Honestly,
so.
when I think of New Zealand, I'm not like, oh yeah, we have really long clouds.
Yeah, we've got the longest
we
class.
we got the longest clouds.
That's your
Like,
description.
Like, I'm like, why?
Okay.
Why did we choose that? But yeah.
But you know, that's all right. That's all
Yeah,
right.
I feel like
Oh my
that's an
gosh.
accurate description.
What, long
though.
clouds is something that you...
Well, it's typically clouds going across the whole sky. Like every time I look out, there's always clouds, and they do appear long because they sit low in the horizon.
Okay. Well, they're
So
the
it's
only
like
clouds I've ever known, so they're
Oh,
regular clouds.
Yeah,
to
so
me.
those are regular clouds, but they are quite.
So
like,
every other country would be
low
like
sitting.
the land of the short clouds.
Well, it depends because the clouds change everywhere you live.
Hey, we're not trying
Also,
to shame
sunsets
clouds.
look the same. Hot take: sunsets look the same pretty much everywhere.
Oh,
Every place
okay.
I've lived,
Mhm.
people will swear that they have the best sunset or wherever their favorite place. So they're like, "There's no sunsets like the one in Hawaii," and you're like,
They're all
"Bitch,
the
that's
same.
because you're drunk and on a beach,
Yeah,
so you love it more."
No, for
Like,
real.
but really, it's that
Yeah.
like you've just all sunsets tend to look the
Yeah.
same.
Mhm.
But
Well,
people
we-
get real mad about that.
We all have in New Zealand we have legal things of our buildings can't be over a certain
Yes.
height because of
Like everywhere?
earthquakes, especially if you're on the fault lines.
Whoa.
Mhm.
So I think as well you'd get less like light pollution. I don't know, just you can
Yeah.
see more of the
Mhm.
clouds and sky because or a lot of cities that are built on fault lines also have like rubber bases in the buildings,
Mm.
so they'll have like a light sway to them. If you're in a really tall building, like
No,
in
I hate that.
they've got the built-in sway,
Mhm. I don't love that.
which
Big
is
fan.
safe but feels
Mhm.
Feels scary.
yeah.
It's like permanently living in a like roller coaster. It's great.
No, I don't want to hear it. You're afraid of wind, but you're down with
Okay.
earthquake.
I can't. I'm like a small neurotic
Yes.
dog.
How weird is
when
that?
I hear
What?
wind hitting.
Yes, the wind. When the wind goes.
What do you like hear voices in the?
It's like weird. I don't know. It's like my
But you
whole
hear,
body.
do you hear
You
voices?
look like Pocahontas, so you
Thank
have
you.
to. You have to
The colors of the wind. Oh my, you have to like know.
You have to. You're legally obliged to like
Small neurotic dog, like
Mhm.
instantly intense, and then I can't
Oh.
sleep. Like I'm
No.
like, yeah,
Interesting.
it like haunts me.
Yeah,
I don't know what
she
it
has
is.
to like
Like-
burrow. It is
Yeah.
genuinely a small neurotic
It's
dog.
like the thunder and lightning is like calming to me.
Mhm.
I like
It's
thunder and lightning. It's just
Yeah.
the wind
It's
hitting the
just
windows
wind.
and like the wind hitting the house, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
but
no.
the ground shaking the house.
Love that.
Totally fine with that.
I love a spontaneous little shake.
Yeah.
Little shimmy.
Your whole house falling down around you. Chill.
Yeah.
Wind hitting the side of it. Absolutely not.
That's the breaking point.
yeah.
We when we were in Japan, we went to the it's known as like the suicide forest. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we didn't go to the scary parts. We just went to like the main trail.
Yeah.
And there's caves underneath, and all of the wind goes through the caves. That's how the caves have been formed.
That's a nightmare.
by the wind.
Yeah.
And so you're in the middle of the forest, and you hear like it's like a horror soundtrack. It's like, ooh. Like, it's like these, and
You
it's
can
all the
hear
wind
it.
underneath.
She's like talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So the second you get in there, you feel the palpable like
Fear?
Yeah.
The desire to
And
kill
this
yourself.
wasn't even
Sorry,
the
that was
scary-
dark. I'm so
And
sorry.
this isn't even that's not even the scary part of the forest. This is like a you
Do
go
not
take
want to
your
go to the
dogs
scary
for-
part.
I know. No,
yeah,
we're
the
like,
scary part has like literal dead bodies. Oh my god,
Yeah.
no, I'm fine.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's nuts. Absolutely
It's
crazy.
crazy.
Okay, so let's get back on track. What does your gender feel like? We'll start with Callie.
I forgot that was the thing that we did.
That is what we do.
My gender, today my gender feels like a mimosa, but
I miss a mimosa.
the juice is like watered down, so it's kind of like a weird, like watery mimosa, but there's lots of bubbles. There's a lot of bubbles. It's just like odd juice.
It's like when you go to a restaurant and it's the cocktail on tap and it's the one they've made it a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
And you're like, I would have just
a little bit of water in here, right? I feel more hydrated, actually.
Yeah. They've watered it down.
Yeah, exactly. That's what my gender feels like.
That's what I think it was the rum that you got, Caboose. He was like, did somebody add water to this? And I was like, no one here is going to add water to your
stealing
rum.
Dad's
They're not
liquor.
like 15-year-olds.
I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I swear it tastes like someone added water to this. Like it's like watered down.
I mean, I
was
believe
like,
him.
I think it's just shitty rum.
Yeah.
I was like, but no
Here?
one here is going to. Yes. The rum that he has in there. He was like, you don't
Is it
think
white rum
anyone
or-
would like do. No, it's brown rum.
Which is even
I was
weirder.
like, he's like convinced that like somewhere along the way someone's added water.
You're
to
not
it.
my
I was like,
actual dad.
No,
If I steal your liquor, I'm just going to steal it.
I was like, what? I don't understand. He's like, that's the only thing I can think of. That's exactly what it tastes like.
Weird.
So maybe the like liquor manufacturers were like, we're just gonna add some extra water to this
A
thing.
little something, something.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What does your gender feel like today?
So I prepared my
yes.
because I knew that you were going to ask this question, and I was
Smart.
like, I'm going to be so stressed in the moment if I have to decide.
Right.
what
Yes.
is. So, and also in keeping with the tattooer theme,
Mm-hmm.
what I identify as today is that random drawer in your trolley that's just got like, it's got like someone's scissors you've never seen in your life. It's got like a corner of a stencil cutting. You're like,
Your references that you don't need anymore.
yeah, totally. And
References
then like,
from 3 years ago.
and then like a rubber band. It's just got.
Okay,
Yeah.
so my question to you, that's
Yeah.
a great thing to feel like, by the way. My
Yes.
question to you is, which drawer is it for you?
Okay, so controversially, mine is the top.
Oh my god.
I don't think that's controversial.
That's not? Okay.
No.
I
okay.
do. What?
What's yours is the bottom? Or
Yeah, it's always the
yours is
bottom.
not always the bottom. The
It's either
biggest
the bottom
one,
or the third.
it's the third is
Oh,
where
the
yours
third.
typically is.
Yeah.
So mine has
And then your third
Mine
will
is the
slip
top
into your bottom.
with the second being slight overflow.
Oh yeah, hers will be the third, and then
then
it
fourth is
overflows into
slight
the
over.
bottom.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, top.
Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
that reveals about
I kind
me,
of love
but-
that.
I've seen
Yeah,
that
what does
so
it say
often.
about
I've seen the
Jayde?
top
Yeah.
and the bottom the most, or the ones that I've
Yes.
seen.
What
as
do you
someone.
have? No, you don't have one of those drawers.
I think I technically do.
No,
Mhm.
she really doesn't.
But
to anyone else who looked at it would be like, that's super organized. But to you,
There's
you
only
know
one
that
other
it's
person
the-
that I've seen that's had a neater station, and I called him a serial killer.
oh yeah, he did look like
And
a
then he
serial
actually
killer.
ended up murdering.
He did murder
You're
someone.
kidding.
Yeah. So he didn't
So-
become a serial killer, but he
But
did.
So
did
we're
murder?
safe. We've got
Yes.
we've got the.
Yeah.
You're the jury's the jury's
Yes.
still out.
It could still happen for me. You don't know. No,
Yeah.
I mean, like right now I have it's typically just projects I'm currently working on. Not like tattoos. I never store artwork there. That's insane to me.
I
That
do.
goes in a binder.
I do
like,
a lot.
organized.
Like paintings.
No, just like
no, like
references,
yeah,
like
she'll
pictures
just
or
throw a
line
reference in there.
drawings.
Okay.
which is easy for me because it means that when I organize her binder,
Yeah.
then I just have to go to that bottom drawer and then I can organize it and put everything back in
Interesting.
correct order.
Mine will be like 2 centimeters of second skin that I'm like, I'll probably use that on
I will
someone, so-
definitely
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to use this. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
that's like normal tattoo artist
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like stickers that I've gotten that I don't want to commit to putting anywhere yet because I really
Same.
like them.
Or like I feel bad for not using them, so they
Yeah.
just live in there
But
forever.
then unfortunately they end up getting like stencil stuff on them.
Yeah,
And
or they're,
this
like,
is so much
folded.
worse. Yeah.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is so much worse
Same.
than if I just used it.
No, I have a binder for those stickers. Yeah.
Really
Okay, you're better
organized.
than us.
No, I just have like
Some tattoo
mild
artists
levels of OCD.
are
so
serial
I
killers,
just
and
have
some
to
of them-
tell
Good.
people
That's
so that
good.
way for the tattoo artists that listen to this that are like, I don't have
Yeah.
one of those drawers, or
Yeah.
everyone in the shop makes fun of me because my drawer looks too organized.
Or one of my
Yeah.
coworkers said that I was a serial killer after
Exactly.
seeing my
Do you know
setup.
what? No, it's good.
yeah,
Because
then
like,
I gotta represent us tidy bitches.
I think having a messy drawer though is safer against like theft. Because they've got to
There's nothing
they've got to
here for you.
scurry
Oh, bitch.
through.
What are you gonna
Nobody
find?
touched my shit.
Oh, because you'd know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you touch my
Immediately.
stuff
Actually,
at
you're
all,
right. Yeah.
I will
you'd know.
fucking know and
Yeah.
yell at people. And also, like, every shop I worked at, like, everyone knew that it was like, if you touch her shit, she's gonna lose her mind.
Interesting.
And I would.
We need, like, I think the indecision of deciding, like, which drawer is which in, like, a tattoo drawer. We need, like, a standardized, like,
Well,
top drawer is, like, you know,
it's typically just
scissors
top or
and-
bottom.
So are you a top or
Yeah,
a bottom?
are you a top or a bottom? And then
Well,
you're
I'm-
reverse, so that makes
Well,
sense. You're fucking.
I'm mostly a
third
bottom.
I'm like a top but overflow, so I'm
Yeah.
like a soft top.
You are a
Soft
soft top.
Power
I love
bottom.
that. But I think it's hard because you can't decide which, and then it makes sense that I'm neither. I'm just
Yeah.
getting the job done. Currently, my overflow, my like messy drawer is like stuff that I'm actively doing around the shop. So I've got like a banner that I need to hang up, and I have like a drill in there for what I'm currently
Fucking
using to hang
butch.
stuff. So
Yeah. What in the butch lesbian?
no tattoo stuff in there because the tattoo stuff can't touch the like
The
project.
drill and
Okay,
the-
yeah. No, that's good.
So
Like
This-
I immediately think of like, so you know in the army how everyone has. I'm saying like I know that I don't know that.
perfect.
But I've heard that they
I know
have
the
their,
military, so I
their-
got this.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I should
Oh,
very
this
well.
might
I
be
got you.
embarrassing
No,
for me.
this will be great.
Okay, so you each have your bag, and
Mhm.
everybody packs their bag the exact same
Mhm.
because if something happens to you or someone else,
Yes.
and you need a supply,
Yes.
you know, in the trenches,
Mhm.
you go in and you know exactly where that thing is because everyone's bag is the same. I'm like, we need that if we're in the tattoo trenches, you know.
That's
The
I need to
tattoo
find a
trenches.
3RL.
Yeah, where is it?
The hard part
I know
about
you
that
have it.
is that
Where?
like everyone's using different stuff in the military. You're all issued the same, but like my box of gloves is currently it's insanity. I bought these gloves just by a fluke.
Yeah, are they pink?
And they are pink.
Okay, yeah, cool.
And I don't typically like pink gloves because once you get the black ink on them, they don't look pretty anymore. But clients do love them. Like every time I put them on, they're like, "Oh my god!" But I got them because they just happened to be on sale right before we came, and my box has 200 gloves in it, whereas typically a box only has 100.
Yeah.
So then I had to
Are they
change what
compacted?
drawer they go
'cause they
into
don't
because they're
fit.
twice as thick.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard because it does depend on what style of tool chest you have.
Yeah.
For this is not like interesting for anyone
No,
who's
it's
not a tattoo
really-
artist.
Well, you know what? We
Are
have to
they
give the
really
people what they
compacted
want.
too?
They are.
You know, like when you pull out a glove and like
Yes.
4 come
They-
out.
I hate
That
that.
These
is
are
so, like-
actually the best ones
stresses me
because
out.
multiples don't come out.
Really?
Like I ordered them
Oh,
like from
they're
they were
softer
actual
too.
nursing
I actually
gloves.
did use your gloves the other day. My bad.
Oh, I had to use your gloves the other day.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like
I did. And I
sometimes
noticed
if
that.
you go to grab a glove and
Yeah.
like 4 come out,
Oh
if
my
that's
God, I
your
would get
final
so
straw
angry.
for the day,
And
it's
you'll
like
stop. Yeah, I
Yes.
literally will end it right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I guess I should get
Yeah,
back
what's
on
your
track.
gender?
I am not sticking with the tattooer scene, but I love that,
That was
so
smart
much
too.
because that
Damn
was
it.
great.
You should have thought about
This
that.
is one of those things that if you're not a tattoo artist, you're
You
like,
don't-
I don't
you
give a
don't
shit
get
about your drawers. But if you're
Yeah.
a tattoo artist talking about like trade secrets,
Yeah.
like your drawers,
that's like
it's
revealing
great.
your heart. Like,
Yes.
It really is. Well
Dude,
done.
that's how before we I promise I'll get back to my gender in a second. Before we do like any sort of grand openings, because my ink cabinet does look like a serial killer, so everything's like perfectly lined up. But I will always make sure that every one of our labels, because when you're working, not all the labels get to go forward again. And about once a week, I'll go in, clean mine, clean hers. Like it's like a methodical. Like
wow.
she gets the benefit from me
I love
being
that.
OCD.
She refills my
I
like,
get to-
soaps.
yeah.
And my
Do you
water.
know
Because if I'm
how lucky
refilling
you are?
mine-
I'm so lucky. I'm so
if
lucky.
I'm refilling mine, I may as well refill hers.
And that's so sweet.
Yeah. She handles social media, dude.
Okay, yeah.
So
There's,
like
it's symbiotic.
fair trade. Yeah. Beautiful fair trade. Plus I like she's messy and I love to tidy messes. And like she's hella clean, but her scissors will not be back at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she lets me just go in and just tinker and be
You
like,
guys
this
are
is
like
it.
a sitcom. You're like a little like I
It's
love
really
it.
sweet. Yeah. It's
It's-
really, really sweet.
But I will go in and like adjust to make sure all the labels are correct because tattoo artists, like when they would come to the shop, would just open drawers to like look. And I'm like, I want you to know that like
I've got my shit
this
together.
is what it looks
Yeah.
like on the regular.
Yeah.
Like it is that insane.
Well, now you're revealing to the public.
That's
that,
fine. That I make sure it's extra pretty. That's like cleaning your house before guests
Yeah.
come over.
Yeah.
Period.
You better make sure that it's like nicer than typical.
Yeah.
It's respectful,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's hard when you walk into someone's house and it's like, you know, there's like cat litter everywhere.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
certain
like-
extent of like revealing you're a safe person.
Yeah.
You can come into my house when it's not in its best state.
Yeah.
But then there's also like I've let my filth like
Like this
I don't
is my
care
best.
about you. Yeah, well I don't care about you
Yeah.
enough to even like wipe the ants off of the...
No,
you know?
100%. I cat sat for someone before, and I came into their apartment, and they said, "Oh, if there's clothes on the floor, just step on them." That's how bad it was. It was so
And
like
that's the
unhinged.
thing,
Like
is
it was so unhinged. I'm like, that is awful.
Yeah.
Horrible.
yeah. I'm not. I didn't shampoo the carpets before you
Yeah,
came
of
over.
course. Yeah.
You say of course,
really
but that's
offended,
progress.
No.
Yes.
It is
Oh,
progress, yeah.
Because we joked about they have some like craft supplies that are very tidily in this like beautiful, everything is so tidy. And they're like, sorry about the mess. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's so rude.
That's
That's
so
progress. For me,
I can't believe I
put it
can
away.
see your beads. Like,
Yeah, and you can see the printers. I didn't put the printers away. Yeah. So like I was being
but yet the
vulnerable.
paper is like, you know, everything
like,
is.
Perfectly. Okay,
Look,
what
you
is
don't
your
wanna
I'm
look
gender
at
gonna
my-
tell. I'm gonna tell my friends that
Yeah.
I came and the beads were just out. Like,
Can you fucking believe that? It's horrible.
they weren't even color coded. They're just mixed.
Oh, that's because they're her beads. Look,
Wait, yours are actually color coded.
they would be.
course they
if I
would be if she
yeah.
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it gets to a
Yeah.
point where you're like, why bother? And you just shove them all.
Yeah,
in.
Yes, and then I have to come back and like because she'll put all the alphabet letters together, and I'm like, "You're a
Oh.
psychopath."
Is your sunglass caddy like organized by like amount of shade?
It is not because it's a shared sunglass
Okay,
caddy.
yeah.
Otherwise, it would be. Yeah,
By
my closet
density of
is
lens.
my sock drawer. Like,
Oh, I love
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm terrified, like, okay, so what if I unexpectedly die and somebody has to go through my stuff to like get rid of it? Make it a good job so it's easier for them.
If I
'Cause it's
die,
really
people are going to be like,
hard.
Callista, why is
Wait,
this here?
If you die,
No,
and
you
then people have to
you
go
can't
through...
live your life being like, what if I die? Oh,
Well,
you
no, but I'm just saying, like, if I die, you guys are gonna have such an easy job being like, let me just tidy all this up, and I get to enjoy the benefit of living in a nice, tidy place.
There's a word for that. It's like called like Swedish death cleaning. Or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Swedish death cleaning.
Yeah, and it's like if you died right at that moment, like what
That's a good band name.
would you? yeah. it is. What's your gender?
Okay.
Yeah, what is your gender?
Holy shit, 15 minutes in the podcast. My gender feels like that, like, how the fuck did that, like, tire mark get on, like, that part of the sidewalk? Like, what is the, how did that happen?
It tells
like,
a story.
I identify as that tire
I have
mark.
more
that you're just
questions
like,
seeing it than I do not.
yes, that is what
love
I woke
it.
up today feeling that tire mark. I've consisted the whole day to be like,
Yeah.
that is me.
and you're like, I hope they're safe.
Yes.
I hope they're okay.
Yes, that is it. I am that tire
Genuinely
mark
have no
you
idea how
see.
they did that.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't, that's weird.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
awesome.
No, thanks.
Holy cow. Okay, now we're at like the start of the episode. in air quotes, and we're eventually going to talk about tattooing and our love for tattooing because, you know, we've all been in the industry for quite a bit. But it has
She
genuinely
hasn't.
shocked me.
Brand
that
new, baby.
Jade, it's just,
It's just
a
weird.
baby.
It don't seem like it.
I
Even
genuinely
Caboose said
thought-
that.
Yeah, you.
He was like, I couldn't believe she's only been like tattooing for what?
It feels like
2 years.
A
2
year and a half.
Yeah,
that's
a year and a half.
crazy.
That's nuts.
Less than 2
Me
years
too.
old.
Yeah.
Tatter
I'm a little
tot.
baby. Well, so the way that I've been explaining like how I feel in tattooing
Mhm.
is how everyone felt when Michael Cera got cast in the Wes Anderson film. It's like you're like, okay,
You've always been here.
yeah. It's like of course.
That's
You know?
how I feel with you. Where I'm like, you've always been a tattoo artist.
Yeah. Like we were
you
just
were
waiting.
like born with a tattoo machine, like a traditional
Yeah, that's
coil
part of my
in your
thing.
hand.
But yeah, it was just like we didn't think Michael Cera would be in a Wes Anderson film, but the second he's in a Wes Anderson film, you're like, of course.
Yep,
Right. He
absolutely.
He belongs there. So
Obviously,
that's a
yeah.
little bit how I feel as well.
That's
So
great. I
Maybe
love
that's
that.
the energy I'm putting out, and so that's what people.
Yeah, it genuinely
that
just
vibe.
feels like you've always been here.
I would have
Aw.
guessed that you've been in the industry for at least 8 years.
Oh,
Yeah, just because like
no
you
one
feel like
zoom
you've
up
said-
on any of my tattoos.
Oh my god! No one do that to any of ours.
Yeah,
actually,
no one do.
that's
They're
actually for all of us.
You shouldn't be zooming in on tattoos
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
know how well the client sat.
And
Yeah,
also,
that's
like, you
right,
don't, like,
yeah.
when you're zooming into things, your literal eyeballs don't do that. Just saying.
Yeah, that's right. It's like better than your eyeballs. But whenever
Yeah.
like, there's been the odd time that I'll look over at my mentor's phone and he's like zoomed
Oh my
out.
god, no,
And
death.
I'm like,
Yeah. Don't
I'm
do
so
that.
stressed. But no, it's very revealing.
Mhm.
But also I have to remind myself that tattooing is one of the crudest art forms possible.
That's a good
Like, at the
good
end of the
attitude to have
day,
about it.
It's a controlled wound.
Yeah.
We're like cutting your skin and like rubbing ink in it essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Which
okay.
is fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
Like how I mean, how good do you expect it to turn out?
Yeah,
Which, by the
exactly.
way, we're all really good tattooers.
Well, okay,
I
so
like how good
being-
you expect it to
being a tattoo, I always talk about the tattooer's curse,
Yeah.
which is that to be a tattooer, you have to be a perfectionist. Like
100%.
you have to be
be a good tattooer.
to be a good tattooer.
Yes.
But also, it's the most imperfect art medium you could possibly choose.
And the most
100%.
volatile, too.
The
Because
most
you never know
volatile-
what you're going into until you're there.
Yes, and
Yeah.
this isn't more boring tattoo talk, but every cartridge brand is different.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
That is one of the worst parts about moving
Pisses
is
me off.
having to find new brands. And I'm so glad you brought that
Yeah.
up because like people here are just like, oh yeah, I'll let you know like what brands. And I'm like, I have perfected my
Yeah.
inks after doing this for 15 years.
Mhm,
I know my exact inks.
You know
And
how
they
they're
don't
going to
sell half
blend.
of- yeah, and I know how they're
Yes.
going to blend, and I know
Yeah.
how they heal.
Yes.
Yeah. You know how they react to one each
And-
other.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we buy specific cartridges because I can tattoo
know it,
those
yeah.
cartridges like just in my sleep. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And
so
then in New Zealand, we'll have a shop that you buy from, and they won't always have that one brand that you like in stock. And so you're constantly, I think you maybe try a cartridge for a month or 2 or 3, maybe max. And then you go and buy it again and it's out of stock. And so you have to try something new.
Dude.
And it's constant.
Oh my god.
It's like constant
This is
improv.
how I get hedged
is what
to
it
mail
is.
us
Yeah.
fucking
Constant
stock.
improv.
This is how I just mail inventory to hedge and we pay for the shipping.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because I'm
Yeah.
like, because if you think about that, like in the tattoo industry, we are used to like a rough and tumble type of like,
Mhm.
okay, well that's just how it is.
Mhm.
But in no other art form, if you were a ballerina,
Yeah.
you wouldn't change your fucking shoes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
In no other industry are they like when you order liquor at a bar, they're not a supplier isn't
Yeah.
sending you anything different. There is consistency
That's
in
right.
every other
Or if
industry.
you're a builder, like 3x4s are
Yes.
always the same wood,
Yep.
the
Yep.
same, you know,
Yeah,
the-
you know
a
what you're
set
working
length
with.
sort of
Mhm.
thing.
Oil paints. I mean, you know
Yeah.
what brands you're working with.
Yeah.
You know how the canvas is going to react to
Yeah.
what
Well,
you're
and
doing.
Absolutely.
you can consistently buy those oils, and
Yeah.
then like our industry
And consistently
is
buy
that
the
way.
same
Yeah.
canvas.
Yeah.
But like with
Mhm.
tattooing as well, like everyone's so different. The skin types are so different. And like
Mhm.
I find it really interesting when like older people get worried about how their skin's gonna go. But I'm like, I've tattooed an 18-year-old with horrible
Yes.
skin. Their skin was way worse.
That
Also, older
they've
skin's
never
so
drunk a
much
glass
better.
of water in their
Yeah.
life.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
literally, you can tell, like,
You're
oh my
like,
god,
this
there's like
is-
monster running through your
Yeah.
veins right now. Like
I'm
you
like
only
tattooing a piece of silicon right now.
Yes.
Like, you may look smooth and fresh, but like the ink does not want to go in there.
No, because you need to drink water.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I've been told that the UK is one of the best places to tattoo skin
Mhm.
because they don't see a lot of sun, obviously.
Yeah.
And so their skin is like butter for someone like if you've learned how to tattoo in New Zealand where there's a lot of sun. I mean, we're in the middle of winter right now and you're in a singlet.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
like it's
really
warm. It's
It's
beautiful.
warm.
And it's the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so summer, your skin gets really beaten up. And tattooing in New Zealand versus UK is totally different, I've heard. So people
Yeah,
who
I mean
move-
that would
sense.
make complete sense.
Yeah.
Totally.
I would
especially-
also hate to tattoo there. I would love it as like the actual execution of it,
Mhm.
but I do like to be able to see my tattoos on clients.
Mhm.
That's why I hate tattooing like during winter
'Cause
time.
everyone's-
And everyone's
yeah.
bundled up, and I'm like, but I
Yeah.
want to see it, but also keep it out of the sun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like an oxymoron. 'cause
It
like,
is
I
an
want you to show it
oxymoron.
off. Get me
Yeah.
more business.
Well,
but
how
hide it.
nice are those healed back photos when someone's on the beach or like
Oh,
on
yes.
a pool?
Oh my god.
And you're
yes.
like, oh, I want to be you so bad.
Mhm.
Like, oh, so
Yeah.
good.
100%.
I love it.
Send more
Okay,
real
so
photos.
you've been tattooing for a year and a half.
Yes.
How did you get into it? Give me like a synopsis.
Oh, wow.
You
Okay.
can go as long as short as you want.
Yeah.
Cool.
It started when I was born.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Back in 19... Well, okay. So it started when I was 3 or 4 years old. I promise it'll fast forward.
We're fine. I love this.
Bitch,
I
I'm
love
in for a
story
long
time.
journey.
Okay.
And if people listen to the podcast, they also love a long journey.
Okay,
exactly.
perfect.
They're used
Otherwise,
to
we're
it.
the wrong place for them.
Perfect. So when I was about 3 or 4 years old, my dad got his first tattoo, which I think he traded for like a Kirby vacuum. I don't know if you have Kirby vacuum. But
We
it's
don't, but I am familiar with a Kirby
Oh.
vacuum.
Okay. Yeah.
It
I think
looks
he
like a Teletubby
yeah.
turned into a vacuum
And
cleaner.
they're good
But
vacuums,
they're
right?
good. They're
Yeah,
good.
Kirby's are
Off.
good.
So
Fuck
he
off. You have to pull it behind you. I'm not
so
doing it.
they're really butchy,
Mhm.
but they I think they test it by vacuuming your bed, like your mattress.
Okay.
And I'm like, please don't show me that. I don't want to see the dead
Yeah.
skin.
Let's not.
Anyway, but so my dad got his first tattoo. He comes in. I remember sitting there. I think I was playing like Crash. No, I was too young for that. I don't know what I was doing. I was doing something. And he walks into the room and I see he got a tamoko, which is like a Māori tattoo band, and it was just this bold design on his arm, and it was bleeding. So I was kind of scared. I was like, I've never seen my dad bleed before.
Yeah, spooky.
But I was like, what do you mean that picture is just on you? Like I couldn't comprehend it. So I became obsessed with it and just watching it heal and stuff. And I decided to tell people I wanted to do tattoos. I probably didn't even know what the word was. I was like, I want to do whatever that is.
Yeah.
And apparently my mom has told me this before, that when people would ask me as a little kid, like a 4 or 5 year old, what I wanted to do, I was like, I want to be a tattooer. I'm like,
this is why you have the energy.
Yes.
You've always been in the
You've
industry.
always been in it.
yeah. But then because I was that little girl who was like, I want to be a tattooer, it kind of fell into that like astronaut ballerina territory where I didn't think that was a real job. I was like, that's just a thing that you say you want to do that you never actually do. I mean, there's the odd person that's like, I wanted to be a vet, and then they become a vet.
Right. Or a dentist, and all of a sudden they're working on teeth.
Yeah, the classic 4-year-old that's like, I really want to be a dentist.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
Some of them, you'd be surprised.
You know a lot of autistic people.
I do. They gravitate
Yeah.
towards me, you know.
That's
It's
so
the ADHD in me that
it's like the perfect combo.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that
It's
was
like salt and
me.
vinegar.
I was like, I'm going to be I love that you said it's like salt and vinegar. That is the perfect combo.
Salt and
Because
vinegar.
I was like, hey, I'm going to own a business. Like, I knew I was going to be a business owner, and I knew I'd have a tattoo shop. And I knew like from early that I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tattoo people. And everyone's like, that's not a real job. And I was like, I don't care. I'll figure it out. I'll make it a real job.
With the whole tattooing and the ballerina and the astronaut thing, it's not like
I'll
there's
also
a huge
become a ballerina at some point.
period. But with tattoo, again, it feels that way because it's not like there's a huge like background of people saying this is feasible, and there's not a huge background of people supporting you in that either.
That's right.
Well,
The
you
average
don't
person
see
off
it.
the street, yeah, exactly. You don't really hear about it much because I feel like the average parent on the street is going to be like, don't do that.
Yeah, do something that's actually going to pay.
Right.
That's
Do
actually
something
gonna
like
be
reasonable,
Yes.
you know, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had this idea in my head that this was just I want to be a rock star kind of
Yeah.
situation. It wasn't like a real thing. And then I did a creative degree. I've always been into art, and I leaned more towards graphic design, like bolder. I wasn't really a pencil drawing kid. I was like a felt outline, which makes sense that I'm drawn to coils and American
Absolutely.
traditional style, because it's very much like felt versus pencil.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I was that felt kid, you know, like everything's bold. When I did graphic design, it was always bold colors. And so I did my degree, and I became a little bit of a what's that, you know, like a typical, when you become like a no, what's it called? What's the word?
Were you
Like
into
a-
it still or no? You liked it?
I liked it. I was okay. But cliche. That's the
Cliche.
word.
Okay,
I'm like,
yes.
So I became a cliche. I graduated with my art or graphic design degree, and then got into hospitality. And I fell in love with hospitality because I'm a very kinesthetic person. So I'd been doing this graphic design degree that was on the computer all the time.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm in hospitality, and I'm making coffee, and I'm making latte art. My hands are engaged all day.
Yeah.
I'm making I got into doing little pictures and like entered a latte art comp one time, and
That's so cool.
yeah, it was really fun. It was really cool.
I love that.
It was a
More.
specifically
Do you
oat
have
milk
pictures of
one.
it?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't have
Man,
pictures.
More.
I would have loved to see that.
No, it was really fun. So yeah, I did that. Not like heavily. I just kind of lightly dabbled in it. And then
As
just because
artists
the way that my personality is whatever I'm doing, I want to do it 100%. And so I found myself in management.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it kind of became my life. I'm very people-y, so it just made sense at the time that I was in management. And from there, I managed this non-profit cafe, and we had these regular customers that would come in, and they looked fucking cool, covered in tattoos.
Right.
And I'm like, who are you people?
Well, here's the thing, right? If there's one thing about tattoo artists, they love caffeine.
They do, yeah.
And then the second thing, I just want to say really quickly, your whole lore is very much lining to all the bisexual tropes. So I'm not trying to make
100%.
an assumption, but like
100%. It's accurate.
well, it's
yeah.
very accurate.
It's, yeah.
Did latte art,
Yeah.
queer leaning,
graphic designing
Yeah.
graphic
degree.
designing
Yeah.
in management.
Absolutely. like the bisexual neurodivergent pipeline from like art degree to like hospitality. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's very-
written in stone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. You know, it's meant to be prophecy.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
The prophecy is spoken. So anyway, these people come in. They're
Yeah.
really cool. They're my regulars. So I'm chatting to
Right.
them. I'm getting to know them. I find out they're all tattooers.
All of a sudden
Mhm.
becoming friends. Like,
I'm friends with these people. I
Yes.
know their order.
Mhm.
One
they rely
day,
on me for caffeine.
They rely on
You're
I'm
a
their dealer.
crucial
I'm
part
Or their
of
god,
their life.
essentially.
I do remember
Exactly.
all of my baristas, like
Yeah.
from all the different shops I worked at.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
once traded
Lou, what the fuck?
what? I traded a back
I'm
piece
scared. Yeah.
for a year's worth of Starbucks.
No
Worth
way.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I
worth
worked
it.
in a mall at the time.
That is so fun.
Because I thought that working in a mall, teenage me was like, working in a mall would be hella dope.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
mall.
Yeah.
And a tattoo shop in the mall was
It's
super fun.
dopamine.
It
like,
was not
yeah.
a super fun environment. The best part was you get to, because you work at the mall, so you get to know all the corridors in the back.
Mhm.
So I get to explore the back.
Oh, it's
that
like
part
seeing
was super
behind
cool.
the scenes of
Yes.
Disneyland.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm,
It was dope.
mhm.
That was
Yeah,
like the best part.
broken, like the
Mhm.
the
And, like,
mannequins. and
yes.
like,
Yeah,
Creepy
100%.
mannequins in the dark.
But yeah, there was a Starbucks inside of that mall, and so I traded because I just kept going back buying coffee all the time. And then one of the baristas was like, "Oh, I want to get tattooed." I was like, "Do you want to trade? Because you can give me free coffee."
Yeah.
And then they get bags of coffee every
Yeah.
week, and she's like, "I'll give you the bag of coffee because I got way too much."
Mhm.
She's like, "And I'll just give you free coffee."
that is
And
amazing.
I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna trade you a back piece for a free coffee."
what
Worth
would
it.
you trade for a back piece?
For a back piece, I would trade probably, if I didn't have to work on my car at all,
Oh.
for like, I would say a solid 2 years.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I would trade that.
Yeah.
Dude, I've traded so many. Also, you think mechanics are very cheap.
No, I don't think they're cheap.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that's my barometer because I'm really
Yeah.
like lazy inclined.
Like-
I know that my workload
Are you
doesn't
saying oil
say
changes, or like if something was detrimentally wrong with your
like
car?
oil changes
Oh,
and like
okay, then
fill
never
up
having-
the air in
you
my
just
tires.
turn on
do-
the car and you
do
can
my
do the
windshield
thing.
wiper
Yeah.
fluid. Like yeah, you know what that would
You
be
have
great.
a white
wanna
dad
just-
for this.
I still get weird asking him for that because I feel bad,
Yeah.
you know. But I
Yeah.
hate working on my
Just
car.
tell him
Yeah,
that's a
that's
payment when you
good.
tattoo him.
Fair enough.
You
I don't-
just
Does he
trade
have?
him.
Does he get tattoos?
Yes, he does.
Oh, that yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
only
great.
gets tattooed by me and Callie at this point.
Yeah.
His
Oh,
one
that's so
tattooer
cool.
just killed someone, so he went to prison. So now he's
Yeah,
just stuck with me
It's the
and
one that
Callie.
we talked about.
Yeah, and it took so
I
much
bet you
convincing.
his drawers were so tidy.
No.
they were.
No,
Yeah.
that's who we're talking
That's
about.
who we're talking
serial
about.
Oh, you
killer.
kidding?
No,
Serial
that's
killer, yeah.
for real. That's the
Yeah.
same one.
Yeah.
Like you would open his cabinet and then instant like fear, but also being impressed, but like kind of fear.
Yeah, you're like,
Ooh. Yeah.
there's something inhuman about this.
There's something,
Yes,
not
yes.
right.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
This looks like a movie set in not a good way.
Yeah, where you're like, this is someone that didn't quite get the
Oh my
like
God.
set
Human
correct.
memo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is AI version.
I think
of
there's
what an egg
a lack
cabinet
of
looks
empathy
like.
in here. There's a
Yes.
severe lack of empathy I feel in this
Yeah.
one.
So going back to the back tattoo,
Yes.
Yes.
I think that
Would you
I would trade.
Yes.
I think that I would trade 5 steam facials for a back.
Oh yeah, I've traded so much. I've traded massages
Yeah, oh,
because like hour for hour, it's great because they are not the
It's
same
yeah,
per
it's
hour.
similar.
We're slightly higher, so I could get for an hour worth of tattoos. I can get an hour and a half to 2 hours
my
worth of
God,
massages.
yes.
Ideal,
And
'cause I
especially
love
if you've done a
massage.
back tattoo, like
Yes.
you're on, you know,
Yeah.
who's more sore, the client or
Mhm.
you?
And I've
The
traded
back
for
tattoo.
tires. Our entire back patio, back fence being built. I've traded
That's
so much
good.
labor over the years.
Yeah.
'Cause It's so good. But yeah, for facials, you can for sure find people that'll
Oh
trade
my
for that
God.
shit. Because
Yeah. I love
anyone in that
facials.
range like
Yeah.
loves doing that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So where
Yes.
Yeah.
did I get? Oh,
So-
okay. So coffee.
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 Yes, you met these tattoo artists.
I met
because you
these-
were their savior.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was their savior.
Yes.
And one of them, shout out Nesta,
Mhm.
was like, "Hey, if you ever want to come and hang out at the tattoo shop, we're just around the corner." And I'm like, "Yes, get your bread. Like you're upselling. You're like, you've seen I've got tattoos. You're making the
Mhm.
connection." So I'm like, he's getting clients. I love that. I respect that.
Yeah.
And so I ended up having this weird split shift on Tuesdays,
Mhm.
which happens to be one of the quieter days in tattoo shops as well,
Mhm.
where I had 3 hours to kill in between my morning and my afternoon shift.
And it's a long time.
It's a long time.
Mhm.
And I thought, do you know what is the perfect thing to do is to get like a little tattoo, like in the 3 hours.
Yeah.
So I think for about a month or two, I would rock up on my Tuesdays and I would get a little gap filler tattoo.
Mhm.
It's the way to do it.
Oh, totally. And I had no intentions of like weaseling my way into the industry. Like this was just like okay, I respect these people. I'm going to go get tattooed.
Mhm.
And then one time on a Tuesday, he says, you know that you don't have to get a tattoo to like be our friend and hang out here. And so I'm
you said the F word. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, or
Holy
like
shit.
something along the, I don't know. If it's, but he was like, you don't have to get tattooed to come. Like, you can just come make a cup of tea, like on your break, and like hang out. And thank you so much to that person, Nesta, for doing that, because I'm one of those people that I never want to inconvenience someone.
I need direct permission.
I need
to do that shit.
I'm like a vampire. Like, invite me into your space, please.
Yes.
I'm not that kind of person that's just like brash enough or like has the chutzpah to just be like,
oh, totally.
No, same.
Like, I don't want to waste your time, so I'm gonna get tattooed.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, well,
and then
we're just gonna hang out here.
And I'm like, I'm too broke to be doing this, but I really want to hang out here.
Yeah, and then
but I
turns
respect
out
your time.
they actually really like you, and they were like, yeah, you should just hang out.
And
also,
so then
that's
I thought,
exactly how you get apprenticeships, by the way.
absolutely, hanging out in the shop.
And getting tattooed because it shows them you respect the work.
Yes.
Like, we try to explain that to like people because they'll ask us for like, how do I get an apprenticeship? And I'm like, get tattooed by your favorite artist.
Yeah, because if you don't like their tattoo work, but you want to learn from them, that's like
that's happened to me so much. Where they don't like new school, but they're like, but you'd be a good teacher. And I'm like, you don't like my style.
That's so funny.
Suck my dick. I'm not tattooing you. I'm not gonna teach
like,
you.
Who are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
We know like some people who are heavily tattooed and have been offered apprenticeships without even asking for it.
Yeah.
Because they've shown the commitment. They turn up on time.
And they're kind.
They get tattoos.
They're sweet.
Yep. They've got personality. They respect the work. They love the industry. So I'm in this situation where I'm getting tattooed. They tell me I don't have to. And so I start just turning up, having a cup of teas, hanging out with them on their breaks. And after a while, I was like, how did I get here? I'm hanging out in this tattoo shop every single week. And I start thinking, maybe this is a real job that you can do. It's not like being a ballerina or an astronaut. It's like a thing you can do. And so then I thought, okay, I would really like to do this. But I know that there's a lot of barriers between deciding you wanted an apprenticeship and getting an apprenticeship. And so I spoke to the owner of the shop and I said, I have some intentions. I would really like to get into an apprenticeship, but I don't necessarily, I'm not saying that I'm expecting one from you, but I would love if you had the energy to do it, to get a little bit of input into my drawings every now and then. Like, maybe I could come and hang out and draw here and you could kind of lead me into what would make a good portfolio for an apprenticeship. And he was like, of course. Like, we're friends at this point. I would bring them coffees every time I came over. And after a while, I was drawing, I was hanging out with them. And because I had my degree, and I had my creative degree. And so then I found like sometimes, we have that communication of like, now I have maybe a little bit to offer you as well. Which
I love that.
Not that I was thinking I'm high and mighty, but like there was that mutual respect of like both people have something to offer as like a creative input.
Absolutely. That's a tone that I feel like a lot of apprentices that I've met have actually missed, which is the and like some people can get offended by this and go ahead and get offended by it. I'm saying it. This is my opinion. I've seen that a lot of apprentices kind of just expect it without any kind of like effort or like I'll scratch your back in return kind of thing.
Yes.
Where I've met a lot of people who think that like I should be honored that they asked me to be my mentor. However, you forget that it's a lot of free labor on our side to teach you. It's a lot of free labor on our side to like,
and it's a relationship.
It is a relationship.
A mentor and an apprentice is I'm choosing this person to like invest their time and energy into me.
And they need to trust that I'm a good person and I have to trust that they're a good person. There's a lot of trust that goes into that.
It becomes like that uncle niece, well, in my instance, because I've got a male mentor, that like uncle niece kind of relationship where you're like, we have a relationship. I have to message you if I'm not feeling well. You also have to call me out if I'm not, if I'm burning myself out or if I'm lacking, which I tend to do the more burning myself out end of the spectrum.
Totally.
But he would totally call me out if I wasn't turning up the way that I should be as well.
Absolutely.
And you have to have that relationship of, it's not just employee, employer. It's like a friendship. There's a trust. It's not, well, there's more to it. It's deep.
Like, I personally feel like that's like apprenticeship mentor relationship is also like, for the rest of my life, I'm a part of her story and she's a part of mine.
Exactly.
And so for me, it's like, but for like, and especially like in the States where it is a very sue happy like culture, if she goes and fucks someone up, they can technically come back and sue me.
Yes.
So I'm also liable for her.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes beyond when she's done.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a formal educational system
Yeah.
of like, okay, she went to school, so she just learned from anonymous people. But if she goes out there and creates harm, like I've been directly like contributing to that. And so like for me, like that's, I love to hear how you said it. Cause I think before we started the podcast, you talked about how you like tattooing finds you, but you actually did everything that we tell people to do.
Yeah, true, yeah.
So I, as much as like, sure, there's the coincidence of like you made connections with tattoo artists, but you took every step to do literally what all tattoo artists say, because the amount of people that walk up like fresh off the street or like send an email or like send a DM that just say, how do I get an apprenticeship?
Yeah,
and
not
you're
a single
like,
tattoo on them.
yeah,
as well.
or like they've got tattoos from lots of different people, but they're like, oh, will you be my mentor? Because I like your like vibe. And you're like, that's like just going up to someone and be like, are you my mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
And you're like, can I live with
Yeah.
you?
Mama.
Because
And you're like,
it's
Yeah.
just walking up to someone like, can I live with you?
yeah.
Because you're like, dude, this is
Like even
actual...
even a cat kind of like slowly,
Yes.
weasels their way in.
Yes.
Not to say that I weaseled my way
No,
into
but
it.
it is.
No, you really didn't. It
No,
shows
what it
intent.
is you
Yeah.
you put the effort in to create a situation. You did not come in being like, this is calculated, this is what I'm doing. You did all the right things that we all say, hey, spend time with them.
Yeah.
Make yourself like, I cannot tell you how many people have been like, make yourself indispensable to them, which is where like what you're doing. You brought them coffee, and again, that's our love language.
That was the first thing I did for you guys, actually. as
exactly.
well.
And then I was like, done, bitches.
She's the best.
Friends forever.
She's a safe space. She's a safe space. Everything's fine.
But then that collaborative nature of being like, oh, I can like get input because I know that you're a great artist, so I can use you as input.
Yes.
You built that trust level and you took the time to do it. And I think that's where like, I don't know how it is here, because we've only had like a couple of people asking about apprenticeships, but we in the States it was like quite often, which is flattering. Like, thank you. Like, that's really nice. But it is like, you have to take these steps of you showing the investment before, because like she didn't start as my apprentice, she started as a shop apprentice and then built that relationship with me, and I built that relationship with her,
and you can see that person
then,
becoming part of your story,
yes.
like you're saying. Yeah, whereas I think a lot of people who are seeking apprenticeships treat it more like telemarketing.
Yeah,
Like they're like, okay, who's all the tattoo shops? Call them.
Totally.
Hang up. You want an apprentice? Okay, hang up. You want an apprentice? And it's not like it's more of just any means necessary, as opposed to like, this is the path that I would love to go down if the universe allows it.
Yes, and if these connections are genuine, and if like, you're vibing with me and I'm actually really vibing with you, I think that's the missing link that I see in a lot of people's stories. So like, it's nice to hear a success story of you genuinely fostering actual connections with people and being able to get into the industry, because a lot of people want to skip that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I didn't want to, I also was really conscious of being manipulative. And so I was like, I really don't want you to feel like you can't say no to me.
Yeah.
And so I would say to my mentor, well, he wasn't my mentor at the time. And I was like, how would you feel about me drawing here? But then I'd say the words like, or would you prefer I just popped in for the odd tea or coffee, and you kind of give the words of like, or would you prefer this, as opposed to being like, can I come draw here? And then you're like, you feel like you can't say no to that.
Yes.
But saying like, or do you prefer that the space is for tattooers only? You know, if you give the words, it's like, well, actually, now that you've said that, like, I prefer the spaces only for tattooers. Or you go, oh no, yeah, of course. Like, you give the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Well, because that also builds that trust. Because that is also like, to me, it's one of those things with tattooing that it still is incredibly sacred. And so that's why I'm like, you don't just rock up to someone and be like, hey, do you want an apprentice? Because I'm like, this is to me like the relationship that like we share. And also this is because like she's become my best friend, but the relationship that like all tattoo artists that have that same like feel of like, this is, like you said, like it's one of the oldest forms of artwork, and it is so primitive and it is so sacred that for someone to just like come up and be like, how do I get an apprenticeship? I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Do you walk into a church and you turn to a fucking, like, you turn to the Pope? We'll go with that one. Not saying I'm the Pope, but you go to somebody that you think is important here and you go, what is God?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
Or
how do I
rocking-
get to
yeah.
heaven? And you're like, what, dude, do a little bit of your
Exactly.
own, like...
Or rocking up in the middle of a workday to, say, an electrician.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
then, like, can you show me how to do that? And they're
Mhm.
like, the fuck? Like, I'm on the
Yeah.
clock right now.
Yeah.
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 And I'm like, no, this has to be, like, it is something that, for me, it's, like, it was always really important to be like, I need to know that before I can take someone as an apprentice, like, I can't teach you to be a good person. And our industry, no offense to our industry, all industries are full of, like, shitty people, but our industry has a lot of misogyny and a lot of unsafe people.
Yeah.
And because of the nature of what we do is so vulnerable and is such a, like, collaborative element to it with the client, I want more people that are safe and good and that, like, my clients are going to feel good around, because why the fuck am I going to have an apprentice that my clients don't want to get tattooed by?
Yeah.
Like, that's fuckery. I don't want to bring someone into the industry that doesn't see the, like, significance and beauty of what we do. And while I say that, I also understand that, like, it's also not that serious. I'm not curing cancer. I doodle on people.
No,
So it
but
is the beautiful dichotomy of this is sacred, but
Yes.
also
This is sacred,
non-permanent.
and we do
Yes.
change people's appearances for
Yeah.
ideally the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ideally, they will keep the tattoo and not, like, get it lasered or covered
Yes.
up or whatever.
Mhm.
That is the ideal
Yeah.
situation. So it is still really serious, right?
Absolutely.
yeah, we're life changing, not life saving.
Yeah.
But I'm also
Yeah.
permadoodling. So
Yes.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is like I'm still just drawing.
Well, and I think the why we probably feel so strongly about tattooing is because I imagine that when you both get your tattoos, I kind of imagine it like who's that artist, and he makes busts out of, like, stone, and he basically says, like, I'm not making this thing, I'm chipping away the stone to reveal the
Yes,
statue.
100%.
And so if you're a tattoo person, you get your first tattoo, and when you look in the mirror, the feeling is that was always meant to be
Yes.
there. Like that is chipping away the part, like it's revealing more of myself. And I think that if you're really into tattoos, that's how you feel about tattoos.
Yes.
And so when you see, like, I've seen clients before and I've done their first tattoo and they go, oh my God, that was always meant to be there. I'm like,
Yeah.
And you
I feel
aced
sorry
it.
for your bank account now because you are a tattoo person.
Absolutely.
I'm so sorry to reveal that to
Sorry.
you.
This
Yep.
is now a full-on addiction. Also, really
Yeah.
eloquent way to put that, because this entire time, instead of, that was really beautiful and classically done. I've been saying, you're just decorating your sim.
you're
Customizing your sim the way that it's supposed to.
Exactly, which is the same thing. That's
No, but
just
I
like
like that one a lot.
the fucking Zoomer way of saying that
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
decorating your
I'm putting
sim.
shit on I'm customizing
I'm
my
like,
sim.
I'm revealing the sculpture.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I love that though. It's very deep. No, it's very true. And like I think that's why it's like, yeah, some people can think that we're gatekeeping the industry, but actually, like, I really want to protect the people who are going to get tattooed, the people who want good tattoos, because like being in the industry too, you guys forget that like this might be like a once every month thing for you, but it's an everyday thing for us. So we talk to a lot more people who are way more unhappy with their tattoos.
Yeah.
We meet
Yeah.
so many more people who are unhappy with their tattoos than you guys typically will do, because it's a vulnerable thing to say to someone.
Yes.
And so like when that happens, a lot of the times, not saying that like, oh, your artist meant to do a shit job, but sometimes I would say probably 60-70% of the time it's because your artist didn't care.
Yeah. Oh my
your
god,
artist
a
was
crooked
drunk.
tattoo?
Yeah, your artist was drunk when
you
they were
just didn't care to
tattooing you.
reapply a stencil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
How do you guys deal with like having an off day as a tattooer? Because obviously you have to be 100% all the time
Yep.
because you are permanently marking people's skin.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have a tactic for that, or is it like I just need to lock in? Like I don't have a choice to have a bad day,
Oh
or
my
is it like a
gosh.
reschedule? Or I actually really need to use a bathroom.
So,
Can I use it?
perfect.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we are going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Thank God you That's okay.
Welcome back. We had a little like, oh, there's my cup.
We're all scattered.
Yeah, we had to scatter, honestly, which was great because I really needed a snack. So,
Yeah.
and I also needed to use the bathroom. So,
So we were talking about what we do on off days.
Yes.
And I actually have a really funny story about this. Because you had said, you know the story, it just happened.
Okay.
You had said like, oh, do you just like power through? Do you reschedule? If it's a really, really bad day and I know I'm not going to be able to like muster myself together, I will just straight up reschedule a client. I will be like, hey, I am not having a good day. It's something I've learned as I've gotten older because I would rather reschedule someone than do a tattoo that I am not happy with in the end. So I definitely will just be like, I'll just fucking reschedule you. And then I will typically offer someone like, I'll give you $50 off because I understand the inconvenience and I'm so sorry. And I think
And they may have taken time off work.
Yes.
Or,
Yeah.
And so then I'll be like, I am so sorry, but obviously you don't want me to tattoo you.
Mhm.
And I've actually found that probably over 90% of clients that I've ever had to do that, which hasn't happened a lot, are like 100%. I don't want you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like,
They,
in
a
this
lot
space,
of them
like-
have been understanding.
And they'll be
Yeah.
like, no, you have to take care of yourself. Like, I don't want you to burn out and I want you to feel good.
Mhm.
And then when we reschedule them, I like get to do like my heart and soul in the tattoo.
Yeah.
And most
Yeah.
of them, I'm like, look, I'm still giving you like money off for the inconvenience because
Mm.
that's the business side of it.
Mhm.
And they'll be like, no, absolutely not.
That's
So
cool.
it's like great. And then if it's only moderately off, which leads into my really funny story, and I have like a crazy busy day, but my brain's not there, then I will just be like, okay, you just have to like lock in.
Mm.
So I will basically tell myself like the moment the client walks in the door, like I can whinge and moan up until the moment they walk in the door.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, okay, you're on.
Yeah.
And I just tend to be, I like basically go into battery saving mode where I'm a little bit more quiet that day.
That's a really good way to put
Yeah.
it.
Where I'm just like,
Battery
okay, I
saving.
just
Power
need to
mode.
focus.
I love
But like the other day, I was so tired, and of course, dealing with perimenopause, the brain's not there. It was raining, so I parked the car like down the street, like at the park, and I left the car on all day,
Jade,
and
from like
we were there from 10 till 5.
from 10 till like 5
You're
o'clock.
kidding.
Yeah.
It was just on
It was just
the
on.
entire day.
And
Yeah.
Hamilton is like not. I mean, it's okay, but it's not like the,
The safest. Yeah. Well, when we first moved here, our Airbnb neighbor had told us like, hey, just don't park out in the street. I would park in the driveway.
Yeah,
My car's
yeah.
been stolen 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah,
But then I'm from Reno, Nevada, so I'm like, but you still have your car, so that means
yeah, they
all 3
keep
times they returned
returning it.
So
They joyride and bring it back.
yeah.
It's so
And so,
fun.
like,
Or the-
I
or
would
the
be
cops find it.
inconvenienced
Or the cops find it.
about, like, well, no, she said they keep bringing it back. And so,
So
like,
funny.
I would be inconvenienced that you wasted my gas,
Yeah.
but also you've returned the vehicle, so
Yeah.
I'm less upset.
And that's kind of funny.
And because, like, if your
Yeah,
car's
it's
getting
so
stolen
strange.
in Reno, it's getting scrapped.
Oh,
Like, you're
your
not getting it
car's-
back. The cops aren't
if
helping
you
you
do
find
get
it.
it back,
Oh.
it will be missing parts or it'll be undrivable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
when you get it back.
Whereas
Yeah.
New
If
Zealand's
you
kind of
get
more
it back.
like, when a friend steals your phone and then the only thing that happens is that you just find a bunch of selfies. Like,
Yes.
it's like that. Like when we steal cars, we're like,
Exactly. And then you're like, here it is. I filled up the
It's
gas
like a
tank.
new air freshener.
Yes. They, like, go and get it serviced for you.
yeah. That's like in Canada
yeah.
when there was break-ins, they'd like write like apology notes.
What
Like,
the-
really
Oh,
sorry.
what?
This is what I took.
I had to do it.
Yeah, it was real. Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
sweet.
That'd
It
be
was
really
it was
sweet.
kind of sad because it was like
Yeah.
really sorry I just stole a little bit of food. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, at that
I know,
point,
you're
like,
like- you're
thank
like,
you so
Use
much.
my oven. Like if you
Yeah.
want to bake yourself.
You want me to cook for you.
Yeah.
Totally.
But yeah, and
Mm.
so it was like one of those really funny moments where I'm like, dude, I did dope tattoos today.
Mhm.
Like every tattoo, I was like, bomb, that looks great. Lines,
yeah.
crispy, wonderful. Before I rocked up, I was dead, obviously,
Mm.
because I left the fucking
Mhm.
car on.
Mhm.
And then the moment we got done, we went down to Rice Baby.
So we
Shout
had
out.
dinner too. So
Yeah, we had
didn't
dinner,
just
too.
work
We
a whole
walked
day,
from
but
the
we went
shop.
and had dinner.
Went and had dinner.
And
And then we're
that
walking
is
back to
crazy.
the car, and I'm straight up just like, I couldn't even drive back. I was like, babe, and it's fucking
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, babe, can you drive? I can't. As we come up, the car's like playing music, and I'm like,
why is it playing music?
that's weird. Caboose gets in, and he's like, so you just left the car on
It's
all
playing
day?
System of
Oh
a Down.
Yeah.
my
So
god.
it was literally like, whoa.
Oh my god, dude.
The energy was
No
definitely
way.
unhinged.
The
So-
car was like angry at you. It was like, I'm gonna
I mean,
Oh,
I
God.
guess. I don't know.
Callie said she was like, she just like took herself out on like a date. She was
That's
just like,
so
I'm
No,
gonna
nice.
buy.
I was like, it
Yeah.
was a standalone
I can't. I've
road trip.
literally never done anything like that before in my life.
my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So
That's like, okay, so you managed to, you basically poured everything of your minimal cup into your tattooing
Mhm.
so that you could be like, you get my full cup.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But little did they know behind the scenes. Yeah.
Everything else is falling apart.
Dead.
Yeah.
Dead.
Little did I know your car could have gotten stolen.
Yes. Little did I know my car could have
Oh
been
my
stolen.
God.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
How about you? Like, what's your
Off day procedure? Okay. Well, to be very vulnerable, when we were moving to New Zealand,
Mhm.
the last 2 months of work that I had fully committed to just making as much money as humanly
Mhm.
possible,
and
despite
finishing
what,
off all those projects as well? that you
finishing
needed to?
things off.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Despite what my mental or physical health told
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
So when I get in those places, it is straight. Like I will drink an energy drink every single day. And I will stop working out.
Mhm.
And I will, by the time when I get home, just like roll into drawing again, or I'll just fall asleep and then wake up early the next day and then show up at the shop.
Mm.
And my routine, I don't really recommend this to a lot of people. It's not very good for you. But like if you're moving across the country, or not even across the country, if you're moving to a different country and you need to make as much money as humanly possible, this is my trick. I have this money manifestation playlist. So I would play the same song. Yes. It was Money by Lee Colley or whatever. And like,
not like the Maya, all I want to do is
I love that song. Yeah. And I would blast it on my way to work because I was like, if I feel like a bad bitch and I am making money,
that is awesome.
Then that I shall do. But on the days where my mental health is very dark and stormy and actually really not good, I will email people and say, hey, and I'm really honest. I'm like, I'm so sorry. My mental health is really suffering today. And unfortunately, like, I do not think that I would do you or your tattoo any justice if I showed up today with how I am feeling.
Yeah.
And so, again, here's like $50 off. I am so sorry, but genuinely, you do not want me to tattoo you today. Yeah. And it's just about being honest with your clients. Yeah. And a lot of them have been respectful. I've only ever had one person that's like, I'm like really disappointed. And at that point, I'm like, well, I was vulnerable with you. So whatever. Yeah. I'm not showing up.
That's when I'm like, I'll just give you your deposit back. Yeah. I'm not the correct artist for you.
But also, like, you're allowed to feel disappointed as long as it's not like a you were wrong for doing that. Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's fair. Like, being tattooed is really exciting. You've often taken time off work. It's like, you don't have to, as a, like, to clients, you don't have to pretend like that isn't, like, upsetting. Like, like that's okay. Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. It's only in the scenario where it's like,
where they try to guilt you over it. Because that's what I've had too, is that like only 1 or 2 clients over the years have ever tried to guilt.
Yeah,
and for the most part, everyone's like, oh my God. And then when I see them, I'm like, thank you so much. You were so kind. And they're like, look, I was disappointed, but I knew you were disappointed to not tattoo me. And
for
like,
sure.
You're right.
A lot of them will be like, really like, I honestly respected that you said that. Like I feel like a lot of people have gotten tattooed by tattooers that did have like really bad mental health days, and they were like, oh, should I say something?
Yeah, or I've heard of stories where someone's gotten tattooed by someone for the first time ever, and they were like, oh, that environment was not nice. But I know, say they've talked to me about another tattooer, but I know that tattooer, and I'm like, they're an amazing person. They're an amazing tattooer. I think you caught them on a bad day.
Yes.
But it's, what can you do?
What
like, once that's happened, it's like, you know, that actually sounds like that experience sucked. And it's like, if you want to give them another chance, like, I know that they're a really good person, but like,
How about you? What do you do? Especially as a baby tattooer.
I'm really stoked to hear your perspective on it because I'm still figuring out what a bad day looks like or feels like for me.
Yeah. I really don't recommend the whole chug an energy drink every day. It's really detrimental to your health. It messes up your sleep cycle and it also fucks with your mental health. So don't do that.
So I'm figuring out, because tattooing is like, when you've been doing it a long time, like these guys, if you watch videos of tattooers or something, it looks kind of easy, but it's not. Like, it's really hard.
It's never easy. She said the perfect thing the other day when we were talking, because like the moment you get done with that, like your last tattoo of the day, and you like have to clean up, and that cleanup feels so hard because you just put everything into it. But you know that you also have to like do a good job cleaning.
Yeah,
you gotta make sure
sanitation
that
is one, a big part of it.
And so you're just there, just like, okay, so like that's why we'll also do the thing of like, okay, let's go to dinner. So at least then I'm rewarding myself.
Yeah.
So like, we can go to dinner and I will clean this up. But you just are so dead. And she had said this great thing where it was like, but when you're tattooing, like there's a certain level of adrenaline that always happens because it's always kind of scary.
Yeah.
Every single time it's like a roller coaster, and you're like,
totally. Even if you've tattooed this person a million times before,
because you don't know how. Like, there's always, how are they gonna sit? Like, I tattooed a client the other day, and Bless tattooing this client was genuinely like writing out, like on, like if you're having to write a paper on the bus and it's just bouncing the whole time, and I was just bouncing along with my client, and I was like, this is the part that, like, if you're not a tattoo artist, like, you can't explain that, where you're like, I did not know we were going on a bouncy ride today.
Yeah.
And so this should be, like, a classically incredibly easy tattoo. Should be a 15-minute, not a big deal. But I am having to coach myself through, like, you are doing the best possible job you can do. I'm coaching my client. And so there's just that level of adrenaline that always happens, where it's like, if you know you can bank off of that, but also you can still mentally coach yourself through that, then you have a lot more like days. Like, we both have a lot of days that we can do where I would typically like to someone else, be like, do not tattoo when you feel like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that I can roll in there completely dead as a doornail and still produce clean work. So it also depends on like the tattoo I'm doing. Because if I'm just doing clean work that day, dope. If you want me to like be like creative, you want an original, like you want me to like, then I'm going to be like, this is not me for the day.
Yeah.
But like good clean stuff, I can do that hella tired because my brain just goes into autopilot. But that's because of that adrenaline, that it gives you that extra burst to be like,
so
all right, we're fucking scared.
It's hard, especially when you're new, to figure out what a bad day looks like, and also what your like limits are, right?
Exactly, and knowing what is, because tattooing is hard when you're learning. Every day feels so scary.
Right?
Like so scary. I remember for the first 2 months of tattooing, before any tattoo, I would go out into like the spare back room and I would just like meditate for 10 minutes, just like controlling my breath. And because I've come from a hospitality background where everything is like, how can you do it as fast and efficient as possible? And all of a sudden tattooing is like, slow down. Like this is not a race. Like be slow, be steady, be careful.
That was the hardest part for me to learn too.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And then also there's the guilt of this person's paying me by the hour if you're doing it that way, if you're doing it by hour. And so you feel like you owe that person to be fast. And then finding the perfect balance of like what's fast but what's me doing a good job.
Yes.
But yeah, so I think my bad days at the moment, they might look like, I've got a few regular clients now who know me well enough that they can pick up on it. And that's when I'm like, oh no, I'm not masking very well today. Like they might say like, is everything okay? And I'm like,
I hate that.
I know. And you're like, damn it.
You caught me.
Yeah. You're like, stop it. I'm just focused. I'm working.
Yes. And so sometimes I'll be like, thank you for asking. I'm actually a little bit tired, but I'm still really excited to do this for you, or
For
something
sure.
like that.
Like
because
I
you
still
are
have the capacity to tattoo you. I just like I don't always have the capacity to tattoo you while also like socially engaging with you. And that's hard for like neurotypical people to understand as well. Where like we've actually, this is like a really new procedure for the two of us. Before people's appointments, if we're both feeling particularly very neurospicy that day and like cannot speak to people, we'll email them like 30 minutes before their appointment and say, hey, I'm so sorry, I'm having a headphones kind of day. So bring your headphones or bring a book, bring something to entertain you, because like right now, like I'm feeling very neurospicy and like I cannot like really engage socially the way that I want to. So if I'm quiet, that's why. So bring entertainment.
And that's what is part of creating a safe space is if I can verbalize where I'm at today, I now give you permission to verbalize where you're at today. So like if someone comes in and it's their first tattoo, and I'll say like, if you want, we can chat. If you want, you can wear headphones. It's totally up to you. And I explain it like a car ride. I'm like, this is a road trip. There's going to be moments where we're like singing loud, it's fun. And then there's moments where we're like dead silent. And like, that's okay. We don't,
I love
it's
that.
It's totally fine. And
that's
also,
a good way to put it.
And I'll really ramp up my bad, when I'm getting tattooed, there's a few like things that I do. And so I really ramp it up. I'm like, I'm the worst when it comes to stenciling. I asked them to change it 7 times. Even though maybe I do it once or twice, but like.
But still giving that permission.
It's giving,
You're like, oh, I'm the worst at this. Like I always like to, I eat a million snacks and to kind of create that space for someone.
It's a really good way to do that.
That's interesting because I don't send the email. I never do that. I say that during the consultation.
Oh, I'll do the email. I'll be like, hey,
during the consultation, I'm like, hey, I don't know how I'm going to feel that day. So like a lot of my projects, we work on like larger stuff. And so like, we're going to work on maybe one of these pieces. And I'm like, I'm going to decide that morning which piece I want to do. So like, I just had like R2D2 BB-8. And I was like, I don't know which one we're going to do that day. I'm going to wake up that morning and the creative gods will say, you're going to do this one. And that's one I'll have ready for you. Like, and that's how I work. Is that how you're like willing to do? And then I don't talk during line work at all. Like I fucking cannot stand it talking
well, if
during
people
line
are
work.
talking, they're moving as well.
And I'm so animated. So then people pick up on that and they also want to be. So I have found that because I tell people straight out, and like, I like your car, I think, so I might steal that. But I tell people that it's a lot like, I like to tell them during the consultation about I'm not going to talk to you during the line work. And then if after the line work, which is to me the most stressful side and the most precise, when we get to coloring, I'm happy to talk because even if I'm having a low energy day, I just got through the hardest part and now it's
relaxed.
fucking crazy. I'm fucking chilling and I will just like mooch right off of your energy, but I like to tell them that I don't talk. So they're prepared, and I'm like, you can bring headphones. Like I personally don't want you to talk. So if you bring a friend, that's just quiet time, just so you're not moving. And then if you want to chat after that, more than happy to chat. Most people I find know that they're like, oh, I'm not a talkative person. And I always tell people, I'm like, I love talking to people, but when I'm getting tattooed, like we now do the videos of like tattoo talk, like while we're physically getting tattooed. And I'm always like, this is so weird to like talk to you, because when I'm getting tattooed, I'm typically just like, I'm a dead body.
Same.
I'm not
Locked
here.
in.
Not fucking talking to you whatsoever. I have headphones, you have headphones, and we don't like talk. With us, because we're like besties, we definitely do more of the road trip vibe where it does that. Yeah. But I absolutely hate when you're getting your haircut and you're just sitting there and you're like, am I supposed to talk? Is this dude back here supposed to talk?
Yeah,
or who's talking?
Or is it like but then if you're a masseuse and your client was talking the whole time, that would be weird.
Oh my God.
Right?
Dude, I can't tell you the amount of massage therapists. I can typically only go to them once or twice, because after that, they will talk to me the entire time. And I'm like, I don't want to talk. I want to relax. So I started having to go to like Asian massage places where I'm like, please don't give me a handy. But like, I don't want to talk. And then the second time I go back, they always are just like, I want to talk to you. So for some reason,
funny.
this mug right here that doesn't want to talk to people says,
it just invites talking.
tell me your problems, because they're always just trauma dumping on me.
So with the lining being like super stressful, obviously, have you guys found like sometimes stenciling is like the most stressful?
Oh my fucking God. Okay, let me tell you what. As someone who has been doing this shit for 15 years, I will give you a warning that the feeling that you probably have that when you can't get a stencil on right and you're like, this client's going to think I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I swear to God, I know what I'm doing. That feeling never goes away. Wow. Yeah. Ever. That is part and parcel of the job.
Like the sweat, like the
sweating.
Oh
and
my
like,
God.
and you're struggling to put your gloves back on. After, it's
you're like,
embarrassing.
Yeah. You're just there like, oh my God, let me run another stencil. Fuck. Oh my God. And so again, I caveat that during the consult. I like try to get ahead of all the shit that like gives me nerves or also gives them doubt. So during it, I'm like, look, I know you have a lot of tattoos, but like, especially if we're doing something balanced or something where like the position really, really matters. I'm not saying that stencil position doesn't matter, but obviously some areas have more leeway. To give that caveat to the people.
Yeah, or if it's symmetrical, like in a symmetrical place.
Then I give that caveat to clients during the consult. Like our consults are really like full on. Where I'm like, hey, so just so you know, stenciling usually takes about 10-15 minutes, if even. But sometimes you can get a stencil on there first time. And a lot of my stencils are first time. And when I give the caveat of like, we're doing a balanced piece, we might just be able to put them both on. They're going to match up. They're going to be great. But if we did not pray to the correct tattoo gods that day, it's going to take us 17 times. And we're going to go on that journey together. And we're going to feel like, you're going to feel like your body's wrong. I'm going to feel like I don't know how to do my job. But that is how it works when we're stenciling. So your body is correct. I know how to do my job. We can fix like the stencil, we can't fix it then. And that way it like gives me that sort of like leeway. But then when it's those easy pieces where I'm like, I don't need to have the stencil talk with you. This is just a minimum. No big deal. And then I'm placing it on. I'm like,
you're on your fifth stencil. Literally like, wow.
Give me a second. Let me rerun this.
This
fucking minimum tattoo is going to take you 7 hours.
Yeah, it's totally normal. That's a normal thing. My
Yeah.
joke is always like, sorry, I didn't make a sacrifice to the stencil gods. This is probably
we blame the whole thing on the stencil gods.
Oh no, the stencil gods, the tattoo gods.
Yeah.
But also like the difficulty of people expecting perfection when no human body is perfectly symmetrical too. So if you're doing a back tattoo or like the chest piece, I can't imagine how long that took to get perfect, you know.
Oh, thank you. It's again, sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you're just really good at freehanding stuff. It's
well,
just it comes with the
balance.
confidence of like, it comes with the confidence of like being in the industry for a while, but also I don't think enough tattoo artists talk about this. If your client is already unconfident and like,
oh my God,
not like, okay, so I said this on the podcast before, there are certain people that I don't think should be getting tattooed until you've already made the peace with the fact that your body is changing. And sometimes I get people in the chair that do not want their body to change. That's where I give them the out of like, do we want to reschedule? Is that okay? And then sometimes, no, that's fine. They just have to like be in control of the whole thing, even if it means that you landed the stencil right the first time. And so if my client is confident in me, it's a symbiotic relationship. Then you get the confidence to pursue the only times I've ever really been like, I don't know how to do my job is when my client is like,
a tattoo?
no, not even a tattoo.
Tattooers are like, okay, Barbie,
Yeah,
I am awful.
Yeah.
Genuinely awful because I don't care about what it looks like to her. I care about like on my leg, what it looks like when I look down.
Yeah.
And so
Which
I'm
is
like,
fine.
we need to
I'm
adjust
fine
it
with
just
that.
like a millimeter that way.
I'm like that as well.
Because I'm like, if
Yeah,
you just
totally.
adjust it that way, then it'll be correct. But at least
It's
I
your
can
body,
be clear
brother.
enough
Yeah.
to like tell her exactly,
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
angle that, and she'll be like that. I'm like, yes,
right.
that's perfect.
Well, and you and I have talked about this
Um,
before, that if sometimes when a stencil's in the right place, it like gets a glow
Yeah.
or like a ring to it.
Yes.
Do you?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
yeah,
do you
that's
get
what
that
we
as
talked
well?
about when
That's
you were
awesome.
at dinner.
Yeah.
When you were having your dinner
Yeah.
part, that's when.
That's awesome.
Like
You
we
get,
both
that
said it at the
buzz.
same
Buzz,
time.
yes.
Like it gets that, and we're
Yes.
both like vibration, and we're like, that's so weird.
I'm
Yeah.
so bad because when people, this is why I have to be really careful about who tattoos me. I'm literally like, I don't fucking care. So they'll
She
like,
doesn't.
slap it
So
on
it
me,
has
and
to
I'm
be
like,
someone that
yeah.
cares more about it than you do.
And then it
Yes.
sucks because then
Yes.
I look at it, and because I work around those pieces, I'm like, you fucking piece of shit artist. Like,
Yeah, she
you
gets
just
so
let
mad.
that touch another
Yeah.
piece. You could have reapplied the stencil a fraction over
Yeah.
or adjusted the design
Yes.
on it. And you would have had this, like, again, that, like, glow that,
Yes.
like, holy shit, it
That-
fits perfect there.
yeah.
And so I get really mad because I work, first off, I do a ton of cover-ups, which I love. I love cover-ups.
She's really good at it.
And I do a lot of, like, taking, like, basically sticker sleeves and then turning into a cohesive sleeve.
Mhm.
It's the part that I am jealous about traditional artists because typically when you do get to like you get to do the dots and the stars,
Yeah.
and it creates
Sailor
this
dust.
and I'm like, fuck, dude,
Yeah.
I love that sailor dust. It's like
Yeah,
pixie
yeah.
dust. Whereas like with neo traditional or like when I do full, like just the full solid
Every
no
space
skin,
has to be intentional.
yes,
every
and so
single
you're
whisper
working
of hair.
around someone's stuff that
Yeah.
like previous artists
It's because
never
men
had the
designed the American
conversation.
traditional, so just like slap it on, get it on there.
and then you're done and you're out of here.
Have you
Yeah.
heard of Tom DeVita?
It sounds familiar.
So Tom DeVita, he's an old like traditional tattooer, and he's an artist through and through, and he has this really weird thing about. I think he's passed now, so rest in peace, Tom DeVita. And if he's not, sorry.
Sorry. You're old enough to have. It's fine.
But he is one of those tattooers that he ended up getting Parkinson's, and one of the only tattoos he did in his later years was he would do his signature and only on tattooers
sure.
for $30. Like that was
I
like his
love
thing.
Really?
that.
That's awesome.
At conventions, like I think it was $30. Yeah, do a tattoo. But anyways, him with placement, he kind of worked more like a graffiti artist or a collage artist. Where say I've got a piece right here, and he'll be like, "Okay, this dragon I've designed for you, it needs to go here." And it's regardless of what's underneath it. He's like, "No, that's where it goes."
Oh wow! So
And you're
you just
like,
did blast
No, but it's literally like, or he might be like, it might be like here, where it's slightly overlapping, and that's his thing. And I'm like, how do you
No.
decide that?
I
he's
could
like-
not.
Yeah,
He just that's his
he's
art.
just like, no, it has to go here.
yeah.
And
Fair
he's
enough.
looking at it like a collage, not like a
Yeah,
whereas,
so
like, my
basically like
brain looks
stickers
at-
on
yeah.
your like on your
yes on your
yeah.
station, the sticker bombing.
Yeah, that can fucking overlap,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Oh, I
that's
do
how
that.
I'm
But say
into.
say you've got your arm here, where you've got your band here,
Yeah.
and you've got all the space. He might be like, it's got to go there.
Oh.
No,
Oh.
no.
And
I
for
could not.
people not watching the video, it's just like 1 centimeter overlapped of like a tattoo that's the only tattoo in your whole arm.
On your whole
and it would
arm.
be like,
And it's
That-
very
and that's-
obvious that they made the decision to overlap it.
and for him, that's the thing. And I wonder if he gets that like little
Yes.
vibration or that little tickle of like when it's in the right space. And
Sounds
it's like, it
like
doesn't
it.
matter what else you have on you.
I'll
It's
do
like,
that
it's
with
gotta be there.
inanimate objects, but I will say, like, when it comes to my neighbors, so basically the tattoos that are around
Yeah.
where I'm supposed to put it, I'm
Yeah.
very respectful of my neighbor's
Yes.
space. I'm like, no.
No.
Yes.
You
How
need-
fun is it moving into a neighborhood of like a little tattoo
It's so
neighbors?
cute.
Yes.
You're like, oh my god, I love that tattoo, and you're like, we're neighbors.
I did
Yes.
a tattoo recently that was right next to one of yours, and
Oh,
it was
yes,
the
yes,
three,
we're
like, the,
neighbors.
yes, we're
Yeah.
neighbors. The jumping spiders, one of them twerking.
Yeah.
That was such
so
a fun
good.
tattoo.
So good.
So fucking fun. I was like,
So
oh my god,
fun.
our neighbors, how cute.
It's like a little like blowing a kiss to another tattooer when you're like,
Exactly.
I see
I like
you.
to make them slightly interact, so I'll have like the
Mm,
tattoo like
mhm.
looking at the other tattoo. Like Callie's got some really fun ones for the artists where like,
You do.
oh, this one looks like it's
Cool.
petting that one, and
Oh,
they
I love
look like
that.
they're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
Ryan's
they're super
got
fun.
some tattoo there's a traditional design of a Grim Reaper. There's like this one Grim Reaper that's obviously a skeleton, it's Grim Reaper, and then its feet are just like perfectly intact. Like, it's got feet, it's got all the toes. It's
Oh my
hilarious.
God, I love that.
It's a vintage design. He got it by Ali at a flash day. And so just this Grim Reaper with feet. And then he's got this really small, awkward space left. And he's like, the only thing I could really fit in there is like, I could put a little camera. So he's like doing a little foot finder thing.
Yes, that's amazing.
That's hilarious.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Wow.
I forgot we had more questions.
Well, I wanted to
Wait,
ask
what,
you.
how long do you guys normally run your podcast for?
However long
Okay.
people want
Yeah,
to
it's
know.
our podcast.
Yeah.
We make the rules.
Yeah.
Sick.
It'll probably
Love
be a
it.
two-parter, so that'll be fine. But if not, then whatever. That'll just be
No, it just has a commercial.
Okay.
We'll
fair enough.
bring you back on for more.
Yeah, we'll bring you back on.
This
for
is
more.
the most we've talked about tattoos in years.
I know.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you
It's
for
exciting.
reading.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah,
exciting.
it is.
Yeah,
Because we know each other as tattoo artists, so we're just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
that's it.
it's kind of, if you're a tattoo, it's kind of like your hyperfixation. So it's the thing that you are most excited to talk about. Like,
Yes.
we were recently at a party together.
Yes.
And I checked in, I was like, are you okay with talking about tattoos? And you're like, yeah, are you okay with talking about tattoos? And we're like, yeah, it's literally my favorite thing to talk
Yes.
about.
Exactly. Like our take on
When
it.
Bruce and I were walking home
Yeah.
from that dinner, I was like, I am so sorry. I did not talk to you at all. I was like, Jayde and I were just talking about tattoos
Yeah.
the whole time. I was
Yeah.
like, but I haven't had that like with someone since she was an apprentice.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
Where we just got to talk about tattoos. And he was like, no, that was so interesting.
Oh, cool.
And that's when he was
Oh,
like, I
good.
can't believe she's like such a young tattoo
Oh.
artist. He's like, because you guys were talking like old timers.
Oh, for
I
sure.
was like, hell yeah.
Absolutely. You were always meant to do it.
You said you had a
Aw.
question.
Yeah,
That's what I
I
was saying. I thought we had more questions for her.
I want to ask you if you had any advice for like new tattooers. Like, let's talk about like a month in.
Yeah. Oh, a month in. That's a really good one. I'm just trying to put myself into the headspace of what Jayde was like a month in.
Yeah.
So I remember, so I don't know if you guys had this, but when you start deciding you're going to do tattoos,
Mm-hmm.
you get a bunch of people who are like, you can practice on me, like you blah, 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 blah.
Totally.
So I was like, and I wrote a list of every single person who had ever said that to me, who was like, you can tattoo me, blah, blah, blah. And then the second that my mentor was like, you've upgraded from fake skin to human skin.
Yeah.
I messaged every person that I had on that list
Hell
to be
yes.
like, by the way, I'm tattooing now. And instantly for that first week, I was fully booked for like just, we do it here. You do donations for the first couple of tattoos. Like you just do
Mhm.
$50 or like bring me some baking, pay for my lunch. Like it's very
That's
casual.
cool.
Yeah.
Like friends and family. And once you've been doing that for a little while, then you start doing discounted tattoos, and then you do apprentice rate.
Mhm.
So I was in the kind of the koha means donation, but I was in the koha phase of tattooing.
Mhm.
And so I just said to people, yeah, I was like, you can bring me some baking, I'll do a tattoo for you. I even did a deal that I was like, if you pay a full apprentice rate, I'll give you a free tattoo later on in my apprenticeship. Or like
That's dope.
yeah, so I just kind of immediately had my books filled because I was reaching out to these people. There's like, you really have to be proactive in that. And because of that, it meant that I had done a lot of tattoos already in my first 2 weeks. And then that momentum kind of built more momentum. So,
Mhm.
and then you're tattooing friends and they're telling other friends, and all that kind of stuff like led to me being in skin really fast and like
Yeah,
doing a
hell
lot of
yeah.
tattoos really fast.
But again, I think it is like you said it perfectly. It was that you were proactive, and like that has been the through line through your whole like story of like getting into tattooing is
You're
that
very
you've been proactive.
Initiative and
Yes,
like, yeah,
about making sure that like
Yeah.
it can look like you've just happenstance into these.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like
yeah.
again, to
'Cause
think
that's how
about,
I see
hey,
it from my
I'm going to
perspective,
collect this information. I'm going to reach
Mhm.
out for them. Like
Mhm.
very much like making it happen. Like very, I think proactive is the correct word.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
for me, like everyone, I hope at least that everyone finds their thing that they get in their flow state of like,
Mhm.
I feel like this is what I am meant to, or not even meant to, I don't know if you even believe in that stuff, but
Mhm.
where you feel like the effort you're putting in is being rewarded so much greater than
Yes.
what you feel the effort is that you're putting
Yes.
in. And there are some people who, tattooing is a cool job. Like it's really cool. It's really fun, but that doesn't mean that if you're a good artist, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to love tattooing.
Mhm.
Like tattooing is its whole other beast. And so I think that it's okay to be like, I love tattoos. I love getting tattooed. I love art, but I don't want to be a tattooer.
100%.
Like
yeah.
I think that maybe there might be people who try and make something, maybe not even tattooing, something else, they try and make it work, and it's like you're actually going against, like, you can feel when you're in your right. You
Absolutely.
feel when you're in that right position for yourself. So I guess I would say to new tattooers, like, for one, you're going to be uncomfortable, and that's okay. But if you feel like that's what you're meant to do, like, nothing can get in the way of that. And if you're already doubting, like, ooh, I don't know, this is a bit tricky, then that's okay. You can still explore it, but it's also okay to decide you don't want to do it.
I love that.
100%.
Yes.
Like, there's no shame in being like, I worked really hard to get this apprenticeship. I did my apprenticeship and then decided not for me. Like,
Yeah.
there's no shame
There's
in that.
actually
one of my favorite people did her whole ass apprenticeship, started tattooing, and she was amazing. She it's so crazy. She now, this sounds insane, but it's fucking awesome. We have giant rocks in South Carolina, like huge, like the size of our sofa rocks.
Yeah.
And this is how you know she is in her exact correct spot of what she's meant to be doing creatively. She paints these rocks.
That's awesome.
So it'll, like, for schools, like for school days, for birthdays, so it'll say like happy 5th birthday, for like the kids, because people tend to use them to like mark their driveways. And she comes out, paints them, and then this is how I know she's a fucking savvy ass businesswoman, is that obviously, like, it'll then get worn away and like washed away with time. But then she also does a small version of that rock for that person to be able to keep. So for the kids, they can keep that. I know how cool is that.
That's so fucking
so she
smart.
does a little mini version.
So
and when she was tattooing, like, I loved having her in the shop. And like, I loved working with her. And like, if tattooing was her thing, she would have been a phenomenal tattoo artist, but got through the entire thing, which the apprenticeships with us takes about 2 years. And then was like, you know what? This is not it. She's like, the level of stress to the level of like reward on this is not it. I don't want to do this. And I was like, the biggest, maddest respect for that, because again, I also feel that way where I'm like, no, you know it. Like, if you are it's different if you're just like, oh no, this is hard, because it is hard.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can acknowledge that it's hard, but you wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah, but there's never been a single day in my like career where I'm like, this is not what I'm meant to be doing. And like, that's where I really struggled, because when I was first tattooing, everyone's like, wait till you get 7 to 8 years, you're gonna get burnout, you're not gonna want to do this job. And I'm like, I've never not wanted to do this. And I've learned how to like market and advertise myself, so that way, like I've told you this before, where it's like, I've never had to have another job as a tattoo artist. And the amount of tattoo artists that I know that are like, oh no, like, I've had to have other jobs. I'm like, I literally was like, nah bitch, I'm not. I will figure out how to make this the only thing, because nothing will ever come close to this.
Definitely. And acknowledging like that it is really hard times living like at the moment with the cost of living and stuff. So those who have to get second jobs, there's definitely no shame in that.
Yeah, there's no shame in it.
But I know what you mean. Yeah. And also the drive of being like, I can't, that is not an option for me.
No, 100%.
Oh my God. Spoken like a true tattooer.
Yeah.
I think the people who are meant to be in the industry have always said that, where it's like, I don't want to go back out there.
And you really, I think we spoke about this at dinner, that you really have to be, me talking like I know my shit. I've literally been tattooing
You do know your shit.
But I think, like you say, you just, you feel correct. And I'm like, cut to 5 years. I'm like, I quit. I hate tattooing.
Wait, the thing is that it's like the same thing. Like, when I was only like a baby artist, and I mean, I was also like 24 at the time, so I was really young. And people are like, no, you'll change your mind. I was like, I will never not love this. Like, that is like telling me that like I'm not gonna love my dogs.
Yeah.
Like, no, I love them, and I've loved her since the moment I got her, and I will love her for long after she is gone.
Absolutely.
And I have known, because the very first moment I tattooed, I was like, this is the love of your life, and everything will always be secondary to this.
Which we're gonna talk about as well.
Yes, with like romantic relationships.
There's a lot to get into of that.
Yes.
But yeah, I remember, I talked about before about how I was a manager in a cafe, and the way I always spoke about the difference between like an employee and a manager is an employee goes, I don't like this here, or I don't like the culture, I'm going to leave and find something that suits. And I'm like, that's totally fair. Whereas a manager will go, I don't like how it is here. What am I going to do to change that? And I think a little bit of tattooing, it feels a little bit like that too. It's like something's not quite clicking or something's not quite right. But there's not an option to leave. That's not even on the table. So it's like, what can I do to make that part of the part I'm finding more difficult palatable, and I like the idea of you emailing people in advance, or you have that discussion in advance, especially if that's a point of tension for you in tattooing. You're removing that before it's even a
an
problem.
issue. Totally. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think if you're a people pleaser, especially in this industry, for me, that's why the email beforehand is really important, because I have such a hard time
Because the
drawing that
conflict,
line.
like, on the day is scary. Yeah.
Yeah, very scary, very like, oh God. And like, also, again, it's this idea, we've been meaning to do a vulnerable podcast, but we need to do a podcast on me. I identify as a robot, and that's so not true. Like,
You're
like,
not.
so
You're
want to be
so far from a robot.
I'm so far from a robot,
Yeah.
but like, I consistently always talk about how much easier things would be if I were a robot and
You're
I
like,
didn't have needs.
Wally.
Yes.
But you
Literally,
won't
but
You're so
acknowledge
human. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Wally still needs to go on a fucking charger. He still has to charge.
Well,
So that's
stupid.
why, because she doesn't want to fucking charge.
No.
And
So I have
she,
a lot
like,
of tension.
can
Even
with
the
that.
Roomba
conve-
knows where to go.
Oh my God, that's such a good. Even a Roomba knows where to go.
I'm going to write that on the board.
That's such a good
Even the
quote.
Roomba
That's such an
knows where to
iconic
go.
Jade quote.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's going on the wall.
Yeah, that's going on the wall.
It's so funny.
Yes.
It is
I
so
love it.
funny. But yeah, like, as if you're a people pleaser in the industry, it's hard to tell your clients what you need to succeed, because at the end of the day, you're the one doing the tattoo. So if you're struggling, you really do have to advocate
Oh,
for
yeah.
yourself.
Absolutely.
It's the most cunty
Yeah.
line I say, which is I don't mean for it to be cunty, but the amount of people that say, "Does this look good?" And we'll get into that question
God.
about how that question
Oh,
is strictly
my God.
gendered, by the way, because male artists don't get that question.
No way.
No. Ask a male artist how many times people ask him in a week if a tattoo is going to look good there. It is a purely gendered
It'll
question.
change-
I
it'll
get
change
that.
your life.
Every day.
Yes. Yeah, we
Yup.
do.
Yup.
And now, so when we were watching your mentor or like
Yeah.
any of the men around you set up, listen for that question, and you will notice that people do not ask men if they think the tattoo
way.
that they just placed on someone is going to look good. And if you said that, don't worry.
We still love you.
Yeah, you're just like us, deprogramming the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is something that like gets asked all the time, and I have the most autistic answer, which is I'm not going to tattoo something on you that doesn't look good. And it's like, and people will every time, because I'm a woman, will be like, oh my God, I can't believe you say that. And I'm like,
yeah.
my name is attached to this. So
Yeah,
even if
yeah.
you think this is going to look good and I love this,
Mhm.
at that point, I'm going to say, I'm not the best tattoo artist for you, because I don't want to put my name on something that I am not proud to attach my name to. And so my name being attached to your tattoo is more important to me than you thinking something that I personally don't think will look good looks good on you.
Yeah.
And so it is that case of like, when you do push back against that people pleaser element of like, well, I just want you to be happy. And I'm like, but if it genuinely is going to look like shit, I'm not attaching my name to it. And I would rather give you your refund back or give you your deposit back and be like, here you go. And then go about your way. And I have had clients that like, we've gotten through the consult, done everything full fucking stencil. And you see them look in the mirror and they're just like, And I've been like, I'm not the correct artist for you, or you're not ready for this tattoo.
Yes.
And you can typically tell which, where it's like, hey, most of the time I'm just like, I'm not the correct artist for you. And they're like,
Yeah.
but I feel bad. I'm like, I know you feel bad. I feel bad too. We made it this far. We basically spent the whole night flirting, got into bed, and then both decided we don't want to fuck each other.
Yeah.
Whoops.
No harm, no foul. We're all safe here.
But you know what?
We're not
it's
into
braver
it.
to say no. And it's
Yeah.
also braver to step away from a career. That's what I wanted to say, circling
Yes.
back. With the people who like go through the apprenticeship and then realize it's not for them.
Those people are amazing. I love
You
them.
have you have way bigger balls than anybody else I could know.
Absolutely.
work
And we've
for somebody and say
probably
no.
done that in other, I don't know what other jobs you've had before this, but I've had after my, actually I cut you off. You continue.
No, I don't have anything
Okay.
else.
And when I did my degree in like the Bachelor of Media Creative Tech, it was very graphic design led. And then I got into a graphic design job and I was like, I hate this.
Yeah.
But
Soul-sucking,
suck-
right?
Yeah. And to be like, I paid all this money for this degree. I've invested all this time. It's really scary to be like, crap, that was
turns
a
out.
mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out I want to actually die. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, totally. And it's like with other things, like one of my good friends, they're really good at baking. And for a while they had that as their job. And they hated doing it as a job, but they love baking for friends and family. It's like, that like you can have tattooing as a hobby,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
but to be in it, is a whole different story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've actually not. I worked at a
I will say,
rec center for like 6 months before like we opened the shop, and that's the only other job I've ever had. Yeah, this is it. Like this
this
I
has
knew
always been it for
from a tiny baby.
Caveat
age.
to that, I will say, so you may not have had that like career wise, but you've had that with studios because we worked at the same studio.
Oh,
and
yeah.
felt that way. Where
Mhm.
we've worked at a studio before and genuinely like I was making the most money I've ever made in my entire life. Same with Lou. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah,
We were like
we were rich.
We were rich. We were making stupid money.
We also were. But this is when we were burning ourselves out all the time because
But
it was
we
like
were
a
the
corporate
most
America of
Yeah.
tattooing.
mentally
Bullshit.
unhealthy than we've ever been
Mhm.
before. We had no boundaries,
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
just with clients, but also with our bosses. We had
Yeah.
no boundaries.
Like they would call
And
you
then-
up, yell at you.
on holidays.
Yeah.
And
I
then
managed the shop for free.
I
Like,
did social
wow.
media for
She
free.
did social media for free.
Yeah. And then on top of that, we were burning out so much that it was like clockwork. Once every 3 months, we would have to call out of work for either being too sick mentally
Yeah.
or too sick actually physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we wouldn't be able to work for a week. So that
Yeah.
entire week of
And they would
clients
typically
couldn't-
coincide. So as
Yeah.
you were physically sick, you'd push past the mental sickness where you might call out for like one day
Mhm.
just because you couldn't get up that day and you were so exhausted.
so depressed.
And then
yeah.
you'd go back to work for like 2 or 3 days, and then you would just physically be so ill
Yeah.
you could not work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you would get in massive trouble for having to
Mm.
reschedule appointments
Mhm.
because you were physically ill. And you're like sending them pictures of a thermometer, being like, "I have a fever of 101."
I can prove
literally can't-
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I literally
and
cannot
like,
come to
yeah,
work.
and that was
Mm.
definitely one of those where we were like, "No fucking way, can't
Yeah.
fucking do this. This is not
Yeah.
sustainable." That was the closest I came to being like, I don't love tattooing, and it was
Mhm.
not because, and I knew that I was like, it's not because I don't love tattooing, it's because like tattooing here is a hot pile of
Right.
garbage.
Yeah.
But we were making such good money, and like
Yeah.
we already knew we were gonna move,
Mhm.
and so we were like, we can just hold on for a couple more years.
We might as well just hold on for
And
a
that's
couple
why
more.
we opened the shop, because we
Wow.
saw the Barbie movie,
Yeah.
and I was like, America Ferrera's monologue, it like worked on me the same way it worked on the Barbies.
Yeah.
That I walked out of there and I was like, I'm
Um,
done. I can't do this
We
anymore.
can't work
I
for-
literally cannot
I've
do
been
this.
work for these people.
unprogrammed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I cannot play into this bullshit. I don't care how much money you're paying me. I don't care if I'm gonna have
Like
less
it's literally
money.
selling
I
my
literally
soul.
can't. Yeah.
So we haven't had that
Yeah.
with careers, but we've had that with like other studios
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
And thank God it's only been like really that one because
Yeah.
that's the one that I graduated at as well. So it's only been one, and then we opened the studio. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
crazy.
even if you're in a space that you love and the tattoos you're doing and not they might not resonate with like your artistic style.
Mhm.
If you're into tattooing, you still fucking love it.
Yeah, that's
regardless.
what we're
You're
trying to
like-
explain
Yeah.
that to
Like,
people.
the
We're
Yeah.
fact
like,
that I just get
the
to do
act
it.
of tattooing
Yes.
is what I love. I don't give a
Yeah.
fuck what I'm tattooing. Like, yes, it is.
I'll give you my opinion on what I
Fulfilling.
think would like
Yes.
look cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But at the end of the day, there's half of tattooing is being an artist and half of it is being a service worker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That- well said.
Perfect. Okay, so the battery is going to die on our camera,
Cool.
which means, and this is a rather long episode, so we will wrap this one up. However, if you have like questions, we're going to do the proper stuff, but I'm
Yes.
just letting people know if you have stuff that we haven't covered that you're like, oh my gosh, I really want to ask them questions. They're
Mhm.
finally talking about tattoos again. And we have like a whole other person here that has had a very different tattoo career than us. Then just put them down in the comments or shoot us an email.
Yes, and please
Or
follow
message.
Jade on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll put all of her contact.
I didn't pay them
She
to
does
say that.
dope ass traditional work.
This is not an ad.
Yes, this is an ad. Go get tattooed by her. Okay, so on that note, what are you proud of for this week?
Ooh.
Or what's your win for the week?
Win for the week.
What's your win for the
win
week?
for the week?
Yeah, do you want to start so she's got time to think?
Sure. My win for the week, honestly, is oh no, I forgot.
Do you want me to start?
Yes,
I know my
please.
win. I know my win because I literally said it yesterday because, I left the car running. And it would have been really easy for me to, and previous renditions of myself would have felt very shamed by the fact that I made like such a big mistake that could have been catastrophic. Our car could have been stolen. But instead, I did not feel the slightest bit guilty. I
Okay.
thought that's hilarious. We are very
Nice.
lucky that our car didn't get stolen, and I wasn't mad at myself at all.
Good.
That's
So
good.
yeah, so like I knew in that point I was like, hell yeah, that's fucking mental growth. That's your win for the
Yeah.
week, bitch.
Not just
To
going
just
to
be like,
punishment.
Yeah, like I did not go into punishment at all. I was like, this is so fucking funny that like that's how tired you were, because you had a full on like insane work week and then like promotions, and then that's also just perimenopause.
Yeah.
So like we'll put in systems to make sure we double check the cars off.
It's also
But
a good
also,
reminder
like,
of
whatevs.
when you make mistakes, that's probably how other people look at you when you go, oh, that's funny. Like, it's not
Yeah.
whereas you're the worst punisher of yourself.
And that's something I've like actively worked on for years to be like, I don't care if she makes a mistake. I'm not like, oh, you're a piece of shit. I'm just like, whatever. That's going to be a hilarious story.
Yeah.
It's funny
And I
that
was
that's
like, now
our
it's a
default,
funny
though,
story.
right?
Yeah.
Like inner monologue, those like trauma, the trauma finger.
Yeah.
I thought of my win.
Yes.
My win
perfect.
for the week. Last night, instead of making bracelets, I decided to watch Queer Ultimatum instead.
Nice.
And I had fun, and I
Yes.
like to rest, and I begrudgingly charged like the Roomba does.
Yes. Yep.
That's
The
my
Reuben
win.
is where to go.
The Roomba, even at the end of the day, that's my win for the
you
week.
gotta be a Roomba.
Go back to your home.
Get back on your charging port.
My win for the week is that I made art that wasn't a tattoo.
Yay!
Which is really, and it wasn't on my iPad either, which is like,
oh, nice.
I saw your paintings and they were
yeah.
lit. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you got
Yeah,
into
what the
watercolor.
fuck?
Are they fun?
yeah, I
Oh
got
my
into
gosh.
it. It was
Yes.
fun.
I missed the paintings. I saw the foot pedal.
You're just not a real fan.
Fuck off. To be fair, I haven't been on my
Oh, no,
phone
I blocked
for,
you.
like, 2 days. Oh, that's normal too. We blocked each other to see if like you could see previous stuff before, and then we forgot to, because we were like testing out theories of like how this works when you block, like
Kidding.
what can you
Yeah.
see,
Yeah.
and then we forgot to unblock each other for a minute, and then when we did unblock each other, we forgot to follow each other back. So I was like, why am I
funny.
not seeing anything you're
So
doing?
anyone who's really nosy is like, oh, drama.
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 They blocked
Yes.
each other. Oh my god, they unfollowed
like-
each
So I'd
other.
be that person that would notice, like, oh, they're not following, blah, blah, blah.
Literally, me too. I noticed the temperature change in an Instagram post.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
like clockwork. The
Yeah.
second someone posts something slightly
You're
different,
like,
I'm like,
ooh.
you broke up with your boyfriend.
Yeah.
I know
What's
immediately.
the subtext?
100%.
No.
You get it. You get it.
Okay, so then we have one more thing, which is name one thing you're proud of today.
Today.
Yes, today. What have you done that you're proud of? You get to be
And I'm
big
not allowed
and
to say
bad.
podcast, right? Because that's the...
No,
I haven't
you
heard you go.
You can say that.
Totally say-
I
We
think you
just
were
can't
saying
use
it.
the same one all the time, but
Yeah.
sometimes it is a big feat
Okay.
for us to do the podcast,
Yeah.
and that is something you can be proud of.
I think that was one thing, but like besides the podcast,
Okay.
I think like making friendships as an adult is like really scary.
Yes.
And so I think like
Shut up, bitch.
In unison. You just
Yes.
fully recognize every person listening also was like, yeah.
All of our brain cells just lit up at the same time.
Totally.
It
So
is
then
though.
when you have the like coming to your house is a big thing for me as well. Like just
Yeah.
coming here and being like, yeah, like we're
Meet
in
our
each
dogs.
other's lives now, you know?
Yes.
Exactly.
No going back.
100%. It's been
No,
done.
we're
Yeah.
stuck now.
Broke
Yeah.
the seal.
So I
Yeah.
think making scary moves.
And
Yeah.
you had to walk over here. So
Yeah,
that
I did
prolonged
because I got
it
the
too.
wrong. Yeah, because I got
Yeah,
the
we
location
said we'd
wrong.
record at the shop, and then we opted to record here.
And then
so.
we also
And then I
said
didn't
we
look
would
at my
record at 1
messages.
o'clock, but I was so convinced it was 2.
Yeah, I'm so
Honestly, it
sorry.
was perfect. It worked
Yeah,
out.
perfect.
Everything worked out as it was meant
As it
to.
was meant to and as it
Perfect.
will be.
What are you proud of today?
Today I'm very proud of,
See, this is why when you were like, if there are pauses, what happens?
yeah, what happens? It's
And I'm
fine.
like,
This pauses
nothing.
all the
Nothing
time.
happens.
So I didn't per se get the video done that I needed to today. However, it's almost done. And guess what? For once in my life, I am not like mega upset about it. I'm like, oh, you'll post when it's ready to be posted. Bitch, you're fine.
Yes.
It'll be okay. It'll be done. It's like this close to being done.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm proud of for today. What are you proud of
Amazing.
for today?
Mine kind of ponies off into yours because you had been to the shop, and the shop is a lot smaller to keep like perfectly pristine clean. So all I needed to do to get the shop ready was to just mop the floor.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Is that what you did before we visited? Did you mop the floor?
No.
Okay.
I
was
I
already clean.
had previously been
Okay,
mopped,
yeah.
but like it's swept right now, but I need to mop it because I like to mop it before people come in, so that way it's like extra shiny. But then Callie was like, "Oh no, we should do it here because I don't want to walk over to the shop."
Yeah.
And then it was a really vulnerable choice for me to be like, "Okay, invite her into the space," because I feel the same way where it's scary to go to people's houses,
Yeah.
and it's really scary for me to have people into my house.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, "Oh no, the house isn't done. There's lots of
Yeah.
like repairs that need to be done."
Was it easier
it's-
that you had been to my house before? Or does that not?
No, that doesn't do anything for me. Because
That's
actually,
really
that is
nothing
the
for her.
opposite. Because then I get weirded out because I have such like high standards where I'm like, oh no, that like board is chipped there, and so I'm thinking about that. And then if I say that to people, then people are like, oh my god, that means you're judging my house.
But then alternatively,
Right,
she does only love hosting. So that's the dichotomy
Yes.
of things, is that she has to have
Yeah.
people come over. Usually it's you are always over first before she goes to other people's
Yeah, I don't
houses.
typically go to people's houses.
that
I
was
get
a
really
big
scared
step.
about
That's a
going
big
to people's
thing.
houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guinness!
Yeah, so then but like then having somebody that I like come to the house, I'm like, but what if they come over and they don't like the house? And so there's lots of pacing.
Also,
So
to
that's
be
what I'm
fair,
proud
it wasn't
of.
that I didn't want to walk over the shop. I did think that it was extra vulnerable to start a podcast episode with a guest and then also have to do the setup all over again. It's just a lot for my brain to handle.
Yeah, fair.
Oh, for
where
your
it's like,
brain.
because not only are we in a different place, but then we're setting up differently, and then we have a new person in the mix. It's
Yeah,
too many
fair.
new things
Yeah.
for me at one
Yeah.
first go.
Yeah.
So
No, I appreciate it. I got to see all your Jellycat.
Exactly.
your Jellycat collection.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Got to meet the dogs.
Got to
so-
meet the dogs.
Yeah.
Perfect. So on that note, thank you for everyone who stuck around. I'm not trying to cut you guys off, but that battery is going to die. We talked for a long time. And we will definitely have you back, hopefully, if you're willing.
Yeah.
She'll tell us off the
I would
podcast.
love
how
to.
horrible
Time.
I would love. No, I'd love to.
Because
Good.
we also, as like all people who have been in relationships while tattooing, have lots of different perspectives that we want to talk about. Like,
Definitely.
yeah.
I also just wanted to say I am very new, so I want everything to be taken with a grain of salt. I'm here to share my experience,
Mhm.
but I'm not speaking on behalf of all New Zealand tattooers.
Right.
But we are speaking on behalf of every American tattoo artist.
yeah. That's what
We
I
do
thought.
embody
That's what I thought.
every single person who's ever tattooed.
Yes.
Yeah,
throughout
that's the
all of
vibe. That's the
history.
vibe.
That's a
I got.
vibe.
Yes,
Okay, good.
100%.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you got it straight.
Thank you guys so much. We love you, and we will see you later. Bye. 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 Bye.